Very good afternoon and welcome along to Headingley. Yours truly, Michael McCann, joined by Aaron Vars with a spot in the T20 newly created Women's County Cup up for grabs. Yorkshire looking to make it 6 wins in a row across all competitions and switching back from 50-over cricket, as they were in on Thursday, back to the T20s today. Thursday was pretty comprehensive again for Yorkshire, wasn't it, Aaron?
It certainly was, Mike. Yeah, very, very impressive victory, and one which we hope the side can build off of heading into this clash today.
Yeah, let's have a look back at that game, which Yorkshire won by 6 wickets with 16.2 overs to spare. Langston ready to bowl. First ball of the contest. It's a beautiful delivery right in the channel, the kind of delivery that more than justifies the aggressive field set by Captain Lauren Winfield-Hill. A spot in the quarterfinals up for grabs. Shorter, and that will be the first runs. Not quite sure it will go to the rope. It was not really timed by Bennett, sort of just placed the bat out there, but managed to guide it over the slip cordon, fielded by Hall at the expense of a relatively comfortable couple. That's nicked and that is ballooned over the slip cordon and it's gone away for 4. And it almost feels suitable, given the passage of play we've watched here, that Leicestershire's first boundary off the bat is a nick through third, because Yorkshire have put all sorts of pressure on in that regard. No.
So it's a catch-22 as Marshall.
Oh, got a first Yorkshire wicket for Laura Marshall.
So she bowled one wide outside off, one wide outside leg, and then bowls her the next ball.
Somewhere between is the classic. Somewhere between the two, hey, and somewhere between the two was a brilliant ball from Laura Marshall, who on Yorkshire debut cleans up Bennett, and Sophie Bennett has to go for 11, and Yorkshire have the breakthrough that their pressure deserves. 22 for 1.
To have the backing of your captain. Here is Cooper again, this time to Brooker, and she's bowled her with an absolute beauty. Big wickets for Yorkshire. The Leicestershire captain departs. Foxes 34 for 2, and although it wasn't quite in Cooper's first over, it's come in her first spell. And
it's definitely a bit of a factor of Langston coming back. Oh, LBW appeals and given. Maddie Ward has a wicket. 65 for 3. Just want to build a run of dots. Always nervy when you haven't scored a run after the resumption, and it brings a nervous shot and it brings a wicket. Ward has got the breakthrough. It's Weston who has to go for 39.
We can do that on Saturday.
Hall thinks there's a nick on that, and it's given. What a brilliant catch that is from Winfield-Hill, standing up to the stumps. Colquhoun has to go for 5. Don't underestimate what magnificent wicket keeping that is. Hall has her first wicket. Colquhoun caught behind, 96 for 5.
Yeah, that was a stunning catch from Loz, actually. She's been brilliant for us, wearing the gloves. But she's been brilliant for us. Like her up top. Oh, good catch.
it is a good catch, and that is a rather inconspicuous way to get out as well. That is Francesca Sweet, who departs for a very, very well-played 52.
Probably a decent score on against a side like Yorkshire, so...
Well, that one has been skied. Catching chance here for Erin Thomas, and takes it with aplomb. The onside, so it is Marshall charging in towards Phillips. Phillips tries to drill that through the covers, only as far as Nightingale. Could be a run out here, direct hit from the debutante, and that will spark the end of the first innings here at York.
Welcome to the middle here at Headingley, ahead of third round action in the newly created Women's T20 County Cup. A place in the quarterfinals up at stake. Let's have a look at the 22 yards that there's always so much focus on in the pitch. And you might say it's a bit of a typical Headingley surface. A lot of green on it, but this reminds one of the classic phase of when here, look up, not down. Chatting to the ground staff, you'll see that there is a very good covering of grass on the surface, but a lot of this covering coverage of grass is not particularly live, so not necessarily a big threat to the batter. However, what batters have also got to think about, which this camera angle doesn't fully show you, is the slope. So when the bowling's coming from the Howard stand end, it's just going to move away down that slope from left to right, and it will do something pretty similar from the pavilion end the other way round. As we come down, you see there's plenty of this grass, but my hunch is, from speaking to a few people, it's not necessarily grass to overly fear. We know these Newbury balls will swing early on for both teams, so both sides will eye that as a wicket-taking opportunity. But another really important thing to factor in is boundary distance. When we glance across to the Western Terrace today, it is a 60-metre boundary out there. However, when we come back and we look out towards the eastern side of the ground, it is a 50-metre boundary. It's a whole 10 metres short. So you can see if I'm batting here with the bowling coming from the Howard stand end as a right-hander, bowlers have got to be really careful. The ball is going to slant off the slope from right to left, and if they're not careful, bowlers are going to fall straight into a right-hander's hitting arc to be able to hit out to that short cow boundary, that short mid-wicket boundary. And at the other side of things, when bowling from this pavilion end, the bowler's going to have much greater protection of that long leg side boundary. So boundary distances are going to play a factor today, and it's going to be intriguing to see how this very green pitch actually plays. But by all accounts, it should be a reasonably decent batting surface despite that. The slope's something to contend with as well. So plenty for the captains to think about. Let's get to the toss. Time for the toss here at Headingley, with a spot in the quarter-final of the newly created Women's County Cup up for grabs. Tier 1 Essex are in town. Grace Scrivens, their excellent young captain, is here to represent them. Amy Clark and Martin Calloway, the umpires. And Yorkshire skipper Lauren Winfield-Hill, hoping to make it 6 wins in a row, has the coin in her hand. Give it a spin, Lauren. Heads is the call from Essex.
Oh.
Grace Scrivens, and it's a heads. Grace, what are you going to do? So Essex are going to have a bowl.
Where am I going?
Lauren, get your reaction to that. What would you have preferred to do?
Yeah, we were probably going to look to have a batters, so we're not too disappointed with the result. It looks like a really good surface, and I think we'll try and put a good total on the board and put them under pressure.
They say look up, not down at Headingley. There has been very good weather recently, so a decent covering of grass, but you seem to think that it's one that follows that old adage in terms of the pitch.
Yeah, it looks a good surface. It's rock hard. There is a bit of grass on it, but sometimes think that actually helps in women's cricket. It just gives a little bit more pace and carry. But it's going to be a good surface. It's not going to change too much from one innings to the next. So, yeah, just looking forward to getting out there and having a bat.
And 2 changes from that win on Thursday. Amelia Love comes back instead. Callis, who was rested, comes back in. Laura Marshall and Ellie Nightingale drop out. What's the thinking behind that?
Well, Amelia Love was at school, so she's not at school today. So she comes back in because she's not studying, which is great. And yeah, obviously the inclusion of Stay Callis, she's played a lot of cricket with this whole loan thing going on, so we felt like we've got to do the right thing by her and make sure that she's well rested as well. So yeah, she missed out the last game just to give her a bit of a rest after she played on the Wednesday, but looking forward to having her back today.
And against a Tier 1 side, it's a fixture that, with the way the cup draw was marked out, was always on the cards if you could get through those first 2 rounds. An exciting chance to prove a point?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's not playing on that too much. I think it's just doing what we do, and we're interested in the performance and can we continue doing the good things that we've been doing. But no doubt about it, it's a good opportunity to see where we're at and just to turn it up a notch in challenge.
Thanks very much. Good luck, Lauren.
Cheers.
If we can just get a quick word with Grace.
Go well, mate. Enjoy.
Thanks very much for your time, Grace. You've brought in Kelly Castle today, who hadn't played for you so far this season in the 50 over stuff. What's the thinking of her coming into the T20?
Looks like
she's a really good ball, and she's bowling really nicely in training. So yeah, we're keen to give her a go. Obviously hits the
We're batting.
Really key in T20.
Batting.
Should be good in.
And a newly created competition that your team haven't had a chance to be in up to this point, but have you been enjoying watching it so far and looking forward to getting stuck in?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a really great competition. As you said, includes all different teams across all different tiers. So yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for everyone just to, as you said, test yourself and see where you're at.
And your side won that 50 over competition last season effectively as Sunrisers. Haven't quite had the form that you would have liked this season, so hope that a change of format is helpful in bringing out the best of you again?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's nice to have a change of format, freshen things up a little bit, and hopefully we can go out and release the shackles a little bit and play some really good cricket.
Thanks very much, Grace. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
So the news from the toss is that Essex have won it and they're going to have a bowl. So Yorkshire are batting.
Vertu, official partner of Yorkshire County Cricket Club.
So that's all your news from the middle. Yorkshire have been sent into bat here at Headingley. Fantastic to have your company wherever you are across the world. Do make sure that you give a like and a subscribe to this YouTube channel and get involved on the YouTube live chat as well. We're right across one of the squares that are pitches that are further to the left of the square here at Headingley. And as mentioned there, that short boundary is going to be an interesting factor into this T20 contest. And alongside me, one man who always provides plenty of interesting facts and interesting company is Aaron Vars. A very good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you as well, Michael, and a warm welcome to everybody tuning into the coverage today. Honestly, it's another glorious day. We've been spoiled by the weather, haven't we, in recent weeks here in England and Wales, and hardly a cloud in the sky above Headingley today. So, this should be an absolute blockbuster in round 3.
We're going to start calling it the Costa del Yorkshire soon. We can take a quick check on the teams. In terms of the home team, Lauren Winfield's side have made a couple of changes to the side that won on Thursday. As mentioned, Ellie Nightingale and Laura Marshall both made their debuts in that one drop out. Amelia Love, who couldn't play on Thursday, as Lauren told quite straightforwardly to me at the toss, because she was at school, because she's still doing her GCSE. So Amelia Love is available and back into the team. We'll see her with the ball later on. And Callis, who got well-earned rest, is back. Sophia Smell to bowl the first ball of the game, which is blocked by Winfield Hill. Smell has got to defend the shorter boundary on the leg side in this particular over, bowling from the Howard stand end. It's a 50-metre boundary out square, and then the pockets kind of behind square and cow corner for Winfield Hill were thought to be sort of more 45, maybe even 42. So that's going to be an interesting subplot to this one. And on the other side of things, towards the Western Terrace, it's 60 metres, so there's a whole other 10 metres. Is Smare the gain to Winfield Hill, thuds into the pads. Yorkshire still looking for their first run of the contest, but Winfield Hill has certainly not lacked runs this season. He's had an excellent start to the campaign. Erin Thomas is at the non-striker's end. Smell bowling with deep mid-wicket and a long on, trying to protect those short boundaries, but smashed by Winfield Hill through mid-off for 4. Lovely way to get off the mark and a lovely way to hit Yorkshire's first boundary of the game.
Certainly is. It's quintessential Lauren Winfield Hill, that shot, and already applying that pressure onto the bowler Smale. I mean, this is a great little matchup as well, isn't it, to start the game, given the fact that there's the wider narrative of Winfield Hill at the end of the month going on loan to Essex as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You beat me to the punch to mention it. Winfield Hill this time a little more circumspect. So for those unfamiliar, Winfield Hill will play on loan for Essex, just specifically in the Vitality T20 Blast. So were Yorkshire to lose today to Essex, this would be Winfield Hill's last game in a Yorkshire shirt for a little while, it's fair to say. And of course, we'll have 100 commitments too. Winfield Hill this time with a beautiful flowing extra cover drive. That is the shot of a player in form. It is a surface that looks already as good as the ground staff had suspected it might. 8 without loss after the first. There's that old saying about look up, not down. And Lauren Winfield Hill and I chatted about that a bit at the toss. She would have batted. Essex won the toss and chose to bowl. There's a lot of grass on it. But as I mentioned in the pitch report, not necessarily live grass, and underfoot, it's properly quite hard. We've had, 2 weeks in this part of the world with barely any rain.
Yep.
Let us know in the YouTube live chat, when have you last seen some rain up here? Because this is Yorkshire's 5th home game of the season across Headingley, Harrogate, York, Wheatwood, and it has been pretty glorious the whole time.
It really has. Stunning part of the country, and another spectacular day. You can see all the way over into Leeds city centre as well from our vantage point here in the comms box. It is one of the most wonderful places to watch a game of cricket, and that is some start as well from Lauren Winfield Hill as we have our first change of bowling here from the Kirkstall Lane end. It's Eva Gray into bowl, and that is a rather flowing on drive by Erin Thomas up towards mid-on for no run.
Yeah, Gray has been a big part of this unit that won the 50 over competition last year for what was then the Sunrisers that is mostly morphed into this Essex team. There's a huge amount of similarities. Gray with her little skiddy swingers. Just a slightly uncertain push from Thomas, but that's good quick running to get a single in front of Abdullah Maqsood at mid-on.
And that'll settle the nerves, won't it, for Erin Thomas? I mean, she's had some flashes of brilliance so far in this campaign, really has played some excellent shots, but how she'd love to have a really substantial innings against a Tier 1 side. It would be absolutely massive and a great confidence boost heading into potentially the rest of this competition, and of course for the Blast a little bit later on in this month of May. Here is Gray to bowl once more.
So sounding very good off the bat again. Just glancing at the Essex side. It's Grace Scrivens, Lizzie McLeod, Ariana Dow, Sophia Smale, Amara Carr, Maddie Blinkhorn-Jones, Jo Gardner, Eva Gray, Esme McGregor, Abtahar Maqsood and Kelly Castle, who comes in for her first appearance of this season. Not exactly a like-for-like, but something of a like-for-like swap for Kate Kopak. Short picked up the length quickly, but deep square leg is out there, and on that particular boundary it truly is quite a deep square leg for Jo Gardner. She looks, as we sit from a bird's eye view, a very, very long way away from everybody else on that 60-metre boundary. Deep square leg and a much closer in deep cover because of the shortness of the boundary away to the eastern side of the ground. Full and just pushed out to mid-on. Essex haven't had the best of starts when it comes to the 50 over competition. Just the one win, 3 losses in a row coming into today. That only victory by 5 wickets with 16 balls to spare coming against Lancashire at Chelmsford on the 4th of May. Defeats since then to Blaze, Hampshire and Durham. Whipped away, nice shot through mid-wicket. This is going to take a big chase for Gardner, who's one of the best boundary riders in the domestic game, and shows it there again with a very neat bit of work to keep it to 2. Yorkshire ticking along nicely though here. It's a good nerve-settling start for the openers.
It certainly is, and I think that first over from Winfield Hill really set the tempo, didn't it? 8 runs coming off the bowling of Sophia Smale, who, as we all know, if she gets into a groove, into a rhythm, she can take multiple wickets very, very quickly. One of the marquee moves over the course of the off-season. A lot of counties looking for her signature, and it was Essex who got her. And as a result of that first over, we will see a change in the bowling here. So just goes to show, doesn't it, what a positive and proactive mindset can have early on in a T20.
Absolutely. I wonder, though, whether it was always the plan to try and sneak in over at the top. A lot of the teams like to do this with spin, but you are right. There's plenty of times in the past where Smale has bowled 2 or 3 in the power play, which gives you such flexibility when a spinner is confident of doing that. And interestingly, Lauren Winfield Hill herself was on the Wisden Cricket podcast last year talking about how highly she rates Sophia Smale, and talked about her being a very feisty competitor, someone who liked a bit of verbals out there, and someone who she saw as having a big future, but will now be seen from that far end away from us. That's a nice start from Esme McGregor, who has a best of 3 for 42 this season against Blaze, a product of the Essex age group, so very much one of their own.
Certainly is, and I mean, what an opportunity this season is for her as well. Could be a really good campaign across formats, and honestly, so far she's been very impressive in the List A competition.
It's a good looking drive through the covers, and again Gardner's got to cover plenty of ground out there. There was a slight hesitation coming back for the second, and even with an excellent throw from Gardner, they do get back, and there's a little thumbs up from Winfield Hill to Thomas, as if to say, yeah, we should have gone with more conviction. There's, even for a field of Gardner's excellence, not really a lot she can do to stop a second there.
No, there wasn't, and also a very good take that from the keeper Amara Carr, who will be very busy today. One of the finest keepers, domestic-wise, in the country. Always had a lot of time for her abilities behind the stumps, and you can see the athleticism there. Really good take, whipping off the bails in a flash.
Yeah, it's that classic thing. best keepers, they somewhat go unnoticed. That's too short, but Winfield Hill might feel like she's missed out a bit because she's nailed it straight at deep backward square leg. Great to see plenty of you already in the YouTube live chat. We've had greetings from Adelaide and Lahore already. So many of you enjoying women's cricket wherever you are across the world. Make sure to get your comments coming in. Let us know your predictions for this one. And if you can come down, do come down, because it's a great day for it. It's one of those days I was out there doing the pitch report. You could genuinely feel the golden sun on your neck as you were doing it. Fantastic to see. Thomas has got herself in a muddle and is gone. Erin Thomas is out LBW, trying to pull, missing out. And Thomas has to go for just 3, 15 for 1. Esme McGregor gets an early breakthrough for Essex.
I'd like to see the replay of this one because, in terms of Thomas, is a very proficient player of the pull shot. We've seen plenty of times this season that ball racing out to the boundary for 4, if not 6. It's just a case of whether this one was slightly too full to be pulled. It hits a relatively high. Umpire obviously in a good position and sees enough in that to give it out. I suppose the slight bend, the crouch maybe worked against her there.
Yeah, you would say if there's one thing that might have saved her, it would have been height. Certainly wasn't line or length. And that may be just another one where the slope has played a factor, with the bowling from that end. Just takes it, as the batter's looking at it, from right to left. The slope will definitely has its part to play in things. Rebecca Duckworth with a high score of 51. Coming in this competition earlier on this season against Staffordshire at Wheatwood. An excellent pre-season, is seen as a solid anchor in this Yorkshire lineup. And this time is driving out to mid-off. It's often the player that people can bat around in both white ball formats.
And that is important. It's a rather underappreciated skill or archetype, I think, in the modern game. You need someone who can be an accumulator, getting those substantial 40s, 50-plus scores, and almost being the nucleus from which the middle order can bat off of.
Oh, that's just dangled. It's a bit of a carrot almost from McGregor, trying to tempt and tease Duckworth, who couldn't quite get the contact on it and punish the wide ball like she might have liked. So end of the third over, and it's Essex, you would say, would probably be marginally the more content with the start because of that excellent over from McGregor. 3 overs gone, and Yorkshire find themselves 15 for 1.
Yeah, top quality start that from Esme McGregor, and that's what she's done all season long. It's a case of getting those early breakthroughs, getting those key wickets, and I'll tell you what, that is an excellent over to start out with.
So, Winfield Hill has got a lot of responsibility on her shoulders here. Those stats speak for themselves, really. 340 runs at 56, a strike rate of 130. That's across T20 and 50 over games. Yorkshire need her to stand up here. Another bowling change. It's Kelly Castle who's on for her first over of the season, and she starts with needing one to find her radar, signalled by umpire Amy Clark. Castle, who hasn't played in any of the 7 50 over games, born in Southend, so she's proper Essex. Again, Castle just struggling to find her rhythm, so Yorkshire will happily take a couple of freebies. Once upon a time, Sunrisers captain in 2022 was Essex T20 captain way back in 2018. So again, she's one of those, something of a veteran of the various iterations of women's domestic cricket. And again, Castle struggling to find a rhythm. This time it's a front foot no ball. So that's 3 deliveries in a row that have presented 3 extra runs for Yorkshire, and now it's a free hit for Winfield Hill to have a look at. So opportunity knocks here for Yorkshire.
It does, and you can maybe just see the rust at the minute from Kelly Castle as she comes into bowl here from the Kirkstall Lane end.
And it's smeared away,
And it's over the head of Maqsood, and it goes for 4. So the free hit is firmly capitalised upon by Lauren Winfield-Hill, who climbs into that. And this over has seen 7 runs scored so far off 1 legitimate delivery. So it's just the boost that Yorkshire needed.
It certainly is, and we spoke about the rich vein of form which the Yorkshire captain currently resides in. 88 from 52 against Derbyshire in round 1, 60 from 35 against Staffordshire at Wheatwood in round 2. She is in the form of her life.
This time Winfield-Hill to another short one, only picks out cover. So Castle hasn't yet found her rhythm, and Winfield-Hill will be eyeing the chance for a big over here.
Yeah, she definitely will. There is plenty of open gaps, as you would expect early on in the T20, looking to maximise that power play. Still plenty of protection on the leg side, but there is that vacant region at deep mid-wicket.
Winfield-Hill this time, again trying to thread it through that gap in the covers, only finding Smale. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what a good score is on this. It might well, as I suspected, be looking like one of those classic Headingley pitches that plays a lot better than it looks. Might be plenty of green on the surface, but there hasn't been too many demons in it so far. So that's short and wide, and another one that Castle will have to re-bowl. Well, you have to feel here for Kelly Castle, because anyone who's played the game will know that when you're bowling and struggling to find your line and length, it can be a very tough place. And in an odd way, it can be quite tough as a batter, because you've got to keep focused, because inevitably at some point there'll be a good ball in there. And that is another wide. Sensible from Winfield-Hill, not flashing the hands at it, just letting it go.
Yeah, I was just about to touch upon that point. It's very composed, this from Winfield-Hill, because one of the cardinal sins, of course, when you do have a bowler getting off to a bit of a struggle at the start of their over, is the fact that you move over to try and compensate for that. But so far, happy to just collect those extra runs.
It's a better delivery, but a better shot from Winfield-Hill. It's a half volley, in truth. Castle might be relieved to have got that down a little bit straighter and fuller, but actually it was in the kind of area where an informed Winfield-Hill made what was not necessarily the worst delivery, looked like quite a poor one. Glorious shot.
Really is top-notch stuff from the Yorkshire skipper, and 4 boundaries already. And I'm just thinking of the mental wagon wheel in my head. All 4 of those boundaries coming in different parts of the ground. You can just tell the rich vein of form that she's in at the minute. That one is full, goes down the leg side, given as a wide from the umpire, and after what was a stunning over from McGregor, really got Essex back into the ascendancy in the early stages of this power play. Yeah, this is just the release valve that Yorkshire would have hoped for, just puts them back in a little bit of command in these first 4 overs or so.
Short and wide again from Castle, who again will need to re-bowl that one. So Yorkshire will be gladly taking all of these extras. We can run you through the other games across today. Oxfordshire are looking to cause an upset against the Blaze. They're 20 for 1 off 4. Kent have made a fast start against Cambridgeshire at Fenners. They're 55 without loss after 5. So that's a no ball as well, front foot no ball. So this will be 1, and there will be a free hit to follow. Excellent work from Gardner out there in the deep. Tier 3 Cambridgeshire winning through 2 rounds to get to this point, but finding life tougher against Kent then. Surrey are 45 for 1 after 4 in an all Tier 1 clash against Hampshire. An all Tier 2 game that started earlier. 117 to win for Northamptonshire against Leicestershire. And Lancashire Thunder, the other side of the Pennines, are in a good position against Glamorgan. That's whacked away over mid-on, and like the previous free hit, it goes in that region of the ground for 4. So Yorkshire making the most of this over, which is becoming very expensive indeed.
Yep, being capitalised on fully, and that's a really nice way to settle into the innings as well for Rebecca Duckworth, who has been in fine form in this T20 County Cup. The knock against Staffordshire immediately springs to mind as Castle comes into bowl again to the former Lancashire player. That one strays down the leg side, given as a wide. So staggeringly 22 runs have come off the first 5 legal deliveries of this over, and as a result, what was a pretty indifferent start at 15 for 1 has suddenly exploded into life. Yorkshire 37 for 1.
Still 1 ball left of the over for even more carnage. That is away for 1. They are going to take on the arm of Gardner, and they'll get there despite the excellence of Gardner. It's pretty good cricket all round. I can see Jo Gardner as someone who's a bit of a friend of mine in cricket. She did a little exasperated double teapot there of frustration in the deep, as if that was her fault, and it's not. She's just fielding on an absolutely massive boundary, and such that unless the ball's hit straight at her, it's very difficult to stop a 2, even for a fielder of her excellence. So what an over for Yorkshire. They've comfortably more than doubled their score. And you have to feel for Kelly Castle, in for a first game of the season, having spent 7 either 12ing or 1 running drinks or in and around the squad. And it's gone for 24, so suddenly 39 for 1 or 4.
Yep, and it is a very good start this for Yorkshire, almost going at 10 and over. It currently stands at 9.75, the run rate, and unsurprisingly, Sophia Smale has just been brought back in from the Howard stand end. So let's wait and see what occurs in this next set of 6 deliveries. Just a little bit of field manipulation here from the Essex captain, Grace Scrivens. Plenty of fielders moving about. Let's see what the young left-arm orthodox spinner can concoct here.
Yeah, in the first over, Winfield Hill hit her for a couple of boundaries, but there was 4 dots as well. That's whipped straight to square leg, which you might sort of call on as even in a power play over. 8 off it. Smell, who, as mentioned, was heavily praised by Winfield Hill on the Wisden Cricket podcast last year. Similar field to her first over, long on and deep mid-wicket out. Winfield Hill goes across to sweep. That'll have to be re-bowled. And of course, the other intriguing byplay to this one is that it wasn't these sides meeting, but it was Diamonds versus Sunrise in a semi-final here not that long ago. Quicker and flatter from Smell. That will be another wide, and that's good running from Duckworth. Knew she had the danger end, backed that she would get there against Castle, so Yorkshire pick up another little bonus run. That game was in the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy on this very ground well under a year ago, because it was September the 14th, and Sunrisers, despite having finished 4th in the table, the Diamonds finished top, that's why they had home advantage. Sunrisers pitched up and won by 7 wickets with more than 6 overs to spare. That's turned away, and Winfield Hill again wants 1, and it's gone through the legs of Castle, but there is a bit of cover out there, so it doesn't cost anything more than a run that they were probably getting anyway. Now, of course, that was a very different competition, but it is interesting because that was one of the last games that both sides played in the regional era. That was technically Diamond's final ever game, and for Sunrise, of course, they advanced into the final and beat Stars. But you see the similarities and the differences between both squads. Smell's now going over the wicket, and that's hit straight at Castle. And you just look back at the Diamonds squad from that day, the likes of Winfield Hill, Marlowe, Callis, Langston, still Slater as well, who are in that 11, still around. But others, of course, have since departed elsewhere. Smashed hard down the ground. Might have been a quarter of a chance for Smell.
Yeah, we'll have to see the replay of that one. It was rifled back at the bowler. Done well to get a hand on that in the first place, but yeah, here we'll see. Winfield Hill using the feet. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, I think that's more than a quarter chance. You can see the reaction of the bowler. I think a fielder of Smale's capabilities would have fancied taking that.
Just nudged away. It certainly would have been a good take had she managed it, though. One of those in that kind of a region. If we try and rank the quality of the opportunity, would have been a sharp. I mean, even in the, it's not easy fielding off your own bowling as well, and it's cracked back at you like that. Smell trying to finish off her over, but that's another wide, so she'll be a little frustrated here, because that's 3 for the over, and they, of course, ran on one of them, so wides in this over is contributed 4. That's away for 1 more from Duckworth. End of the 5th over, 45 for 1. Aaron Viles swapping with Charlotte Ashton, who's just settling into the seat alongside me. Hoping that she proves to be... Hello. Something of a good luck charm.
It's been quite the start, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been very eventful. I'm sure all of you watching at home have been somewhat enjoying the swings and roundabouts. 15 for 1 after 3. Long struggling over for poor old Kelly Castle, which I think all of us could empathise with the fact that sometimes that happens in cricket, and it can be very tough when it does.
It does. We've all been there.
We have all been there. And most of us haven't also had the privilege of actually reaching a level of being a professional cricketer. Is Gray. That's turned away, but dot ball. And of course, a privilege, but also in situations like that, only makes it tougher to deal with that and come back from it. It is a game that in so many ways can be pretty psychologically brutal.
Absolutely. This is Essex's first game in the County Cup as well. So
It certainly is, yeah. And it's Kelly Castle's first game of the season, having not played in any of the 750 overs. Is Gray. That's away for 1 out to deep cover. It's going to be very hard to get 2s to that shorter side today out towards that eastern part of the ground.
it is. Something Ducky's really good at is rotating that strike as well. And she's quite a technically classical player, which is what I really like to see. And she really does exploit those gaps.
Yeah, she's someone that's probably historically been best suited in the 50 over format. Gray into Winfield Hill, who is crashing this away. She didn't really time it, but she knew that mid-on was up, so it plugs. And Abdahar Maksud Fields at the expense of a couple. Winfield Hill has more than half of Yorkshire score now, almost half of Yorkshire score, I should say, 24 of 49.
She's exploiting that gap nicely as Winfield Hill. You'd wonder about maybe moving someone, as she's played quite a few that way.
Yeah, it's one of her stronger areas of the ground, particularly with Gray bowling in swing. Almost sort of bowls into that arc and area of strength for Winfield Hill. Eva Gray, Essex's leading wicket taker this season. This time finds the inside edge of Winfield Hill's bat, using that in swing. Took a 5 for against Warwickshire and has picked up 3 wickets elsewhere.
She gets a nice shape on that.
Yeah, she's quite a good character as well. She's good value off the field. She was on the Tail Enders podcast last year, where she provided one of the more hilarious bits of pre-match preparation I've ever heard. We'll come back to that. That's off the outside edge and away through short third. Well bowled by Gray. Was talking about the fact that the night before her side won the 100 final, they went to Magic Mike in central London. And the fact that that had now become their routine were they to get in another big final. And of course was part of the Sunrisers side that last season won the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy final, and confirmed that they'd been to a broadly similar pre-match routine before winning that tournament as well. So what Essex do this season before, if they get to a final, watch out. There's Gray again. That's a little slow ball. Has it got a nick? It has. Cleverly bowled by Eva Gray. Essex's leading wicket taker this season comes up trumps again. And Yorkshire lose a big cog in their batting lineup. Winfield Hill goes for a runnable 24, 49 for 2.
She just seemed to really fish at that. Not a lot of footwork, just that sort of nips away. Fairly straightforward. It's a shame.
It's a clever change-up from Gray, though, particularly when the ball's consistently swinging into you. I think, looking at that action, it might have even been a little back-of-the-hand one. It certainly was a little slower. It maybe kept a touch low as well. Winfield Hill was trying to guide it through.
It was really smart bowling. Managed to exploit a clear area there. Give her something she really wasn't expecting.
Yeah, there's a... Canny is one of the words that comes to mind with Eva Gray. And this was every inch living up to that reputation. Key player in the side that gained 50 over Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy success for the Sunrisers last season, and is one of those cricketers who might not have express pace, but gets anything out of a surface that it offers in terms of swing or seam. Now, out comes a player who was alongside us in the commentary box on Thursday, but is back doing what she'd much prefer to be doing, which is out there in the middle with bat in hand. Callis, who is in excellent form for both Yorkshire and Warwickshire, and between that Tier 1 loan and then playing for Yorkshire is getting in a heck of a lot of cricket. She's out there at the non-strikers because the wicket fell off the final ball of the over, so Duckworth, who has 9, is facing up. And Duckworth is just guiding into the onside. Duckworth has 9 off 11, and now that Winfield Hill's gone, you would say the onus would fall onto her a little bit to try and start going through the gears.
Yeah, you'd think so. I mean, Stir and Ducky were both out in Oz at the same time over the winter. Very good friends, so hopefully that translates.
So that's just pushed away. Well, Duckworth wanted 1 and Callis didn't. Yes, they were saying on Thursday they also flat share here.
Yes.
So in terms of an on and off field partnership, definitely know each other's games very well.
Mm-hmm. Stir just can't get away from the game this summer at all, can she?
Absolutely not. Leave that one alone. Sensible from Duckworth, just exploiting the fact that, as you would expect in a T20 fixture, anything down leg is wide. Yeah, there was a nice moment as well when Duckworth got out for a duck on Thursday. Pretty immediately you noticed she was doing a lap with Stair Callis and Lauren Winfield Hill's dog, and you could see there was a version of batter to batter, just helping them work through it. As Duckworth's gone, another wicket. Wickets in back-to-back overs for Essex. This time it's Esme McGregor uprooting the leg stump of Duckworth, who got herself in a bit of a tangle. 50 for 3, and now Yorkshire have 2 batters out there who are both yet to face a ball.
That's exactly how I'd describe it. Stuck in a tangle there, not sure what to do. Sort of a tough ball, that.
Yeah, the replay will give a sense of if there was too much shape on it, but Duckworth, what we know for sure, he's gone for 9 off 12. Yeah, did come back down that slope. Talked a bit about today, the fact that the slope will be a factor. I think it was more and then off the back pad of Duckworth onto the stumps. It's actually, just looking at it there, the kind of delivery that, but for hitting the pad, would have missed the leg stump.
Yeah, it was getting such a shape that actually it looks like it would have gone down leg if you'd managed to sort of get out the way of it, really.
Yeah, it definitely falls into that category of one of those of when you're not quite scoring the kind of runs you'd like, it dribbles onto the stumps. If you're Amy Campbell at the moment, it probably finds a way to miss leg stump, because the kind of season... I mean, those stats actually... Now, you might look at those and think, wow, 285 at 71, strike rate 157. Even that is slightly doing her an injustice. And that feels like a ridiculous thing to say, because she's gone 165 not out against Derbyshire, 60 not out against Leicestershire, 41 not out against Derbyshire in the second game against them, and 6 not out against Staffordshire. So you top that all up, and I make it she's 272 not out from her last 4 innings. Campbell is off the mark instantly. Out to deep cover for 1. She, with a big smile on her face, said to me, "Oh, it's good, I'm just slogging." But she knows as well as any of you do at home that you don't get 272 not out like that. There's a real calculated way in how she goes about it. She knows the deliveries that are in her arc, which tends to be straight down the ground and through cow corner.
That's her shot, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the signature, 100%. Short and... Well, Callis gets herself in an awkward position there. She's signalling that kept a bit low.
Yeah, I think she was prepared for it to absolutely cut her in half, and it just didn't. But then she got in a right mess.
Yeah, just watch Callis here. She's trying to adjust to that delivery from McGregor, which again tails down that slope, and it definitely does keep a touch low as well. And she's done well to keep that out from Esme McGregor. Just nibbled away this time. That will be 1. Well, there is a need for rebuild from Yorkshire here, but also there isn't a lot of time to necessarily do it. But the way these two play, they're both naturally very aggressive. It won't be long, you would imagine, before they go through the gears. 7 overs gone, 52 for 3.
Yeah, it's been a couple of quick wickets, obviously, have fallen to some good bowling. We'll see how we go from here, but Essex are looking nice and in control, and it looks like it's a change of bowling.
Do have to finish off a little bit of cricket admin from earlier, one that Yorkshire fans might not necessarily be chuffed with, but is still necessary to keep you up to date. I mentioned Lancashire Thunder were in control against Glamorgan. They've got Glamorgan 35 for 5, with Lancashire Thunder having posted 167 for 4, so it looks very much likely that the Tier 1 side are going to avoid a Tier 2 upset there. Now, Abtahar Maksud on. This should be fun. All sorts of variations. A joy to watch as a spinner, not a joy to face. Maksud starts with one outside off, which Callis just takes a look at.
I absolutely love watching her bowl.
Yeah. She's great to see. Hard to pick, but that is an inside-out shot through the covers. One of Callis' strong areas, playing with the turn. Really nice, strong, powerful shot from Callis, who gets her first boundary.
I just felt really, really strong contact with the ball there. Managed to avoid an attempted dive from Sophia Smale as well, who couldn't quite get anywhere near it, but valiant effort.
Stock leg spinner from Maksud. Where does Maksud go to now? Stays with the leggy, and this is swept very fine from Callis, and this might go to the boundary as well. It does. So back-to-back boundaries for the Dutch international, starting to put Maksud under some pressure.
Yeah, that was guided down really nicely. Again, nice to see such control from Stir. She's been proving that recently anyway, but it's always nice to see it at home at Headingley.
Yeah, it's very much become a home from home in recent seasons. Full toss from Maksud, and this time it's just guided out to Gardner, the sweeper at deep mid-wicket. Pretty understandable that Maksud's on from this pavilion end. It gives her a lot more protection on the onside because of that significantly bigger boundary. Abtahar Maksud, a Scottish international. And he's been a long time part of a Scotland team who, of course, made it to T20 World Cup, but have been struggling to play home fixtures due to not having the funding. It's been a big story in recent times, which has been something of a shame. They still don't know when their next game will be. Down the track comes Campbell, crashes this down to Gray at long on, and Campbell has to hurry and does get through for the single. Amy Campbell was just guilty of slightly for a moment just standing and admiring what was an excellent shot and contact point from her, and then had to realise, I've got to run here. Just watch Campbell here. It's still there, and then there's a moment where Callis is sort of trotting at her, saying, "You've got to get going."
It was a beautiful shot, but she really picked the fielder. Yeah, Maksud's bowling really well.
Worked out towards point, and that will be another single. Intriguing battle as it always is when a leg spinner's on, and Maksud, having gone for back-to-back boundaries early on in that over, actually came back reasonably well to only go for 11. 8 overs gone. Pretty even Stevens, 63 for 3.
Yeah, she showed some control there with the ball, just pulling it back a little bit, trying to mix up her length ever so slightly for the batters, especially when she's not getting obviously much of a look in because Scotland don't have any games. It's good to see.
Yeah, one of quite a few players in that Scottish setup that such has been how impressive they are. They've managed to regularly have, in more recent times, a full-time contract. A little further back, at least some kind of pay-as-you-play deal with what was one of the regions. And now, of course, is the counties in the restructure. At the other end, it will be Grace Scrivens, who bowls what, by her own admission, is darty off spin.
I like that description.
It's a very different type of spin. to Maksud. So that's just nibbled away to Castle at point. But she's very quietly effective, and she'll get through her overs rapidly. She's not a big turner of the ball, but she's very accurate.
Puts that pressure on.
It's a little short. This is through the covers. Quick single, and they're okay. It was just a moment of concern. It was neat work from McGregor.
Campbell having to absolutely dive in there.
Yeah, it was a little tight, but with the dive, it had got to the point of being one of those where nobody appeals.
Yeah.
Good athleticism from Amy Campbell. Scrivens with a lot of leg side protection, coming right arm around to the lefty. This is whipped away. This is one of those games within a game of, do they try and push two with something like that? They won't get it there because it was solid work from Gray.
She's just so strong off her legs, is Campbell. It's like a really stylish, nice shot without compromising on the power.
It was what we were talking about earlier. That's her signature shot.
Yeah.
I mean, she's very strong down the ground as well, but there's a real nice whip of the blade through mid-wicket. Callis with a beautiful flowing drive that was a slight hand on it by extra cover, but nothing to stop it going to the rope. Callis is looking in some seriously good touch here, and it's one to watch with spin. She just watch the footwork here. She likes to just make a bit of room. It was a full toss, but it was put away fantastically. She loves to go inside out and thread the ball through the covers. Trademark Stair Callis.
She threw her hands through that. It was lovely.
And that's just worked away through the covers for one more off the bat of Callis.
She's really good at creating that space for herself as a batter, and sort of trusting in giving herself that room on the offside. It makes her so effective, really. She gets up and nice and tall as well to really guide it onto the bat, but doesn't compromise on power.
Yeah, she's very good at manipulating fields.
Yeah.
It's a few captains at both international and domestic level have talked to me about, you think of her as being someone who's particularly strong down the ground, but she scores runs all across the ground as well. Well, Campbell's completely mistimed this, but it's going to land safe, particularly in that big boundary. There was a lot of ground for McGregor to cover coming in. There was never any hope of catching it. That'll be one, so a little bit of a let-off for Campbell, who keeps strike at the end of the over. Yeah. 71 for 3 off 9. And that is a version of exactly what we've been talking about in the commentary box on Thursday as well. When you're Amy Campbell and you're in the run that you're in and you step out and you're 272 not out from your previous 4 innings, that lands safe. When you're stepping out and you've scored 20 runs in your last 4 innings, that goes straight to a fielder and you walk off thinking, why did I do that?
It's the epitome of sod's law in cricket, isn't it? Yep. Seems to always be the case.
Yeah, it has a way of almost rewarding you further when it's all going your way in a purple patch and kicking you down vice versa. Now it's going to be Jo Gardner to come on with her slightly more flighted offies than Scrivens. He's going to come right arm around to Campbell. I think this is a little bit about the left-hander as well. Gardner, who was a long-time sunriser. Oh, that's beautifully bowled by Gardner, and that's gone absolutely through everybody, including Carr behind the stumps. And that will be 4 byes. Something of a let-off, you'd have to say, for Callis, because if Carr takes this, Callis is in a lot of trouble. Yes, well, Carr's just maybe anticipated some ball turning a little bit more than it did, because the thing you have to remember is Gardner is an off-spinner who does get some good purchase, but she's trying to turn the ball up the slope there. So the ball's just gone down the slope, and Carr's keeper will have to adjust. Campbell smacked this one away. Catching chance on the rope and taken. Big wicket for Essex. Amy Campbell is finally out, having scored 276 runs across 5 innings. Today against Essex, she can't make the impact that she'd want. She goes for just 4. It's Jo Gardner who gets the wicket, and Gray with a nice solid catch out there on the rope.
She's bound to be disappointed by that, is Campbell, but as we've mentioned, so many runs not out she's been in the form of her life, by her own admission. Maybe this is a blip, hopefully.
Yeah, file under all good things must come to an end. It's a phrase that comes to mind, and it's been a joy to watch, but this is how Amy Campbell falls today. Just a couple of yards more, and you can understand the intent. She's hitting to the shortest part of the ground. Probably about somewhere between 45 and 48 metres in that pocket. And the celebration from Sophia Smell, who was properly pumped up, told you all that you needed to know. Essex were all too aware that was a big wicket for them to take. 75 for 4. So now Maddie Ward joins Callis. Ward, who had a curious knock on Thursday, ended up with 41 off 74. It took her quite a while to get going. The second half of that knock, she was scoring at the equivalent of about 5 and over, but she was on about 8 off 30. So Yorkshire can't really afford for her to start that slowly here.
No.
Facing Gardner. And that's a nice confident push out to deep cover for 1.
That's her off the mark, nice and early.
The introduction of Gardner has helped continue the loss of wickets for Yorkshire. But that time Gardner is being worked away. That's a delightful square drive. Well, for a purist, that is one of the best cricket shots she'll see all day from Stair Callis, who is looking $1 million here for her. 21 off 12, most of those coming in boundaries, and this is the pick of the bunch for me.
Yeah, it's a beautiful shot. I mean, when I think about Stair, to be honest, I think about how well she plays at that sort of square drive / cut shot. It's remarkable.
And again, she's looking in that region, and it's escaped through. It's a quick outfield, and it will go for 4. So back-to-back square drives for 4 from Stair Callis, and Gardner's just got to adjust her line here. He's offering a little bit too much width outside that off stump.
Yeah, we talk about Campbell's shot, but to me, that's Stair shot right there.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've heard others talk about how our trademark is sweeping the spinners so well, and most people talk about how our trademark is hitting straight. So this Gardner, this is just nudged away on the onside. They want to, but they won't get it. And I guess that's the sign of a good player. If lots of different people think that your trademarks are in lots of different parts of the ground,
exactly,
you're probably pretty impressive all around. 85 for 4 at the end of the 10th after a few more words from the brilliant Charlotte Ashton. She'll be joined for the next 5 by Aaron Vals.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, Charlotte. Good afternoon. I'm getting well ahead of myself. That's what 5 overs away from the mic does. But yeah, it's a stunning afternoon, isn't it, here in Leeds? And in terms of this start, what have you made of it from a Yorkshire perspective? 85 for 4.
I mean, looking at it now, great. But when we were sort of 50 for 3, it was looking a little bit dangerous, wasn't it?
It was slightly dicey for the White Rose. That's a really good take behind the stumps there from Amara Carr.
Really is. Really judged that really well. Moved nice and early.
Yeah, top quality wicketkeeper. Myself and Mike were talking about it earlier on. One of those operators and individuals which game in, game out, you can always rely on, whether it's standing up to seam or, of course, keeping against spin. Absolutely brilliant wicketkeeper. And that's a nice little shot from Stair Callis. Just drops it into the cover region for a single. And in terms of Callis's batting so far this season, Charlotte, how impressed have you been?
Really, really impressed. I mean, both for Warwickshire and for Yorkshire. Like I say, she can't get away from the game at the moment, but I think the winter in Oz has done her really well. She seems to have really expanded her game and her mentality as well, I think.
Oh, it's such a crucial component, isn't it, of this great game of ours. That one, a full toss, worked out towards deep backward square legs. Some fielding to be done there from Ariana Dowse. Does well, keeps it down to just the 1, puts the aforementioned Callis back on strike. Yorkshire now 87 for 4.
It was a nice shot from Maddie Ward. Shame she couldn't quite get the full 4 for that.
Absolutely, yeah. Nice timing, wasn't it? And decent placement, but that's some Some good field settings there from Grace Scrivens, the Essex captain. Look at that again, a nice flowing drive from Stair Callis. Looks in $1 million form at the minute, and it'd be nice, wouldn't it, of course, one of the narratives of this game is taking on what is currently a Tier 1 side, Yorkshire, entering Tier 1 from next season onwards.
Yeah, it's perfect for that preparation. I mean, we've talked about like playing brave cricket. The girls are so keen. Some of them feel like they've got a point to prove, so here's a perfect stage for it.
Most certainly is. What does Callis offer up this time? Again, pops it into a similar region. Fielder circling there in the 25-yard circle. On that occasion, it was Lizzie McLeod doing the fielding, so still a dot ball. And actually, while yourself and Mike Ron comes, I was just going through some of the ball by ball. In terms of the first 10 overs, Yorkshire had 24 dot balls.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, pretty high percentage that.
Yeah.
I didn't actually quite realise it was that high, though, as Callis again works that through the covers. Rotates the strike, gets another single to add to the scoreboard. So after that one over from Castle, you'd have to say that Essex actually brought themselves into this one quite nicely. Yorkshire 88 for 4 after 11.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, McGregor's been bowling really well. Those 2 dots to Stir, they're just such an awkward length where she couldn't quite get back and create that room, and she certainly couldn't get forward. So to be able to nurdle that one sort of into the covers and get 1 for it seemed like a smart move. And then keeping the more experienced batter on strike with Maddie Ward still yet to get properly in, but I'm sure she will.
Yeah, absolutely. Quality all-rounder is Maddie Ward. Also a very handy wicket-keeper as well. And this is a wonderful moment for me because I've never got to commentate on Maqsood before, so I'm really, really looking forward to this. And I think for both of us as spin bowlers, Charlotte,
Yes.
we can appreciate this as well here in the commentary position. It is Maqsood then from the Kirkstall lane end. This one slightly short and pulled powerfully out towards deep mid-wicket for a single.
She bowled nicely to her field there, really, even though I'm sure that was a little bit wider than maybe she would have wanted, but managed to pick out the fielder, so not very expensive at all.
Absolutely, yeah. You'll take that as a spin bowler, won't
Yes.
you? I think that spinners up and down the country have seen deliveries which maybe drop a little bit too wide or too short, end up going for 4 and 6, so whenever it's a single, definitely are appreciative of that one. It's another big sweep shot, just with the angle of delivery there from the Scottish international, straying down the leg side, so no real danger of an LBW, but I'll tell you what, she is just an absolute wizard with the ball in hand. It's Maqsood once more then, and this time it's a reverse sweep and a really, really nicely played one, that from Maddie Ward, showcasing all of that enterprise and innovation, which is the trademark of her batting. We haven't seen too many runs through that region. In fact, before that previous over, we hadn't seen a boundary until Callis got it away back with a point, but that is some shot from Maddie Ward.
It really is. I mean, Maddie loves that shot. She was playing it all the time out on tour. She seems to have nailed when to time it. She's just really good at mixing things up when she feels a little bit stuck, I think.
And that's important, isn't it? That one a bit more of a conventional sweep from the Yorkshire all-rounder. Goes down the leg side, giving us a wide.
Well, that's it. It's when you're batting in that role that Maddie's doing right now and she's still so young, it's about accelerating when you feel like you can.
Most definitely. That's a nicely played shot from Ward. Just rocks onto the back foot, changes the momentum, places it nicely for a single, keeps that rotation of the strike.
That's it. That's crucial for the next few overs, isn't it, really? Rotating that strike nicely before the sort of last 5.
Most definitely. It's the way of going about it in T20 cricket. It's Maqsood then. This one slightly shorter, carved away, beats the dive of the fielder. It's a rapid outfield here in Leeds today, and you can see sprints out towards the fence, goes against the rope for 4 more runs, and Yorkshire inching ever closer to bringing up the 100 here.
Lovely stuff. It was a really, really strong shot from Stir. I mean, it was just well guided. I mean, mixing it up a little bit from Maqsood as well. Could have maybe given a chance a little bit shorter or something like that. Trying to find that edge, I'm sure.
Well, how can Maqsood respond? Again, puts the Dutch international onto the back foot. That one out towards the point fielder for no run. So that is the end of over number 12. Yorkshire 99 for 4, and Stair Callis so far, 33 runs to her name, which includes 6 boundaries.
Wow. I mean, it's just been controlled from her. She seemed at ease, taking charge from the front, going straight in there. It's what you want to see.
It definitely is, yeah. One of the most experienced operators in this Yorkshire outfit, and she just has been in red-hot form this season. I know we've spoken predominantly about her performances for Yorkshire, but for Warwickshire as well. Came in pre-season and started absolutely biffing it about.
Well, to come in and open the batting from her position that's a pretty steady 4 here, and she's taken it well within her stride.
She definitely has. Here's Scrivens again. That's a really nice delivery and a good take from Carr behind the stump, something which Michael touched upon. Just fizzes that ball through.
It's that extra bit of pace, darty, less time to see it. It's a real USB.
Most certainly is. It's Scrivens again. This one drops short and hacked away out towards long gone for the single. Rotates the strike and brings up the 100 for Yorkshire here in the 13th over. Decent start this for the White Rose, and still plenty of hitting still to come. So this is a crucial partnership. I know it's the cliche of the commentator to say that. Always is a big one, isn't it? The 5th wicket.
It really is.
Yeah, you can just tell in this game, if Yorkshire are to get the prize scalp of Essex, that one very short and very fast from Scrivens, played very square from Callis, and that is some wonderful fielding out on the rope. Cuts it down to just 2 runs. On that occasion, it was Jo Gardner yet again.
Oh, she signalled for 4, so she knows she's touched the rope.
Well, let's take a replay of this one. Oh, yeah, clearly. And I tell you what, that is very, very good spirit on display there from Jo Gardner.
That's what you want to see.
Certainly is. Signalled straight away. That's good cricket. And so too is that from Stair Callis. Just drops it into the gap on that onside. They think about coming back for the 2, but the Essex fielders were lurking, cut it down to just the single.
That would have been a brilliant stop if she'd got it. Points for the honesty, though, of course.
Oh, 100%. It is so important in this great game of ours. Scrivens again, and this one pulled away out towards the fielder yet again. It's Sophia Smale on that occasion, who will be absolutely brimming with confidence. You could see the reaction, couldn't you, after that catch, getting the informed Campbell out.
Her competitive spirit really drives everything, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It certainly does. Scrivens again. That one dropped out towards deep cover by Stair Callis. Come through for another single, and that will signal the end of over number 13. Callis on 39, Ward on 9, Yorkshire 107 for 4 runs. Yeah, it's funny you mention that competitive spirit. I was covering a game on the other side of the Pennines last season. It was early April, it was Storm versus Thunder, and Sophia took a couple of big wickets in that Lancashire top order, and I'll tell you what, you could just see from the celebrations, proper gives it a lot.
You can just tell it means that bit more to her as well, and it's really infectious, isn't it?
It is. You'd love that as a teammate. Obviously, if you're facing her, it's a little bit different because you know that every single game she's going to be gunning for your wicket, and it's funny that we're having the chat about Sophia, and here she is coming on to bowl from the Kirkstall Lane end, but just one of those players who every single captain in the country would absolutely love to have in their team, and that one, well, I thought it'd beaten the dive of the fielder. That was a really good bit of fielding in the end from Kelly Castle.
She threw her hands at that.
She did. That's an outstanding piece of fielding. See the replay of that one. Comes off the under edge of the bat. Look at that. Well timed. Smale this time forcing Ward into the defensive. Again, good bowling, finding these lengths nice and early. Smale once again. Ward, really nice use of the footwork there. Got into a good position nice and early for the sweep and works out towards the sweeper Gardner for another run.
She picked that up well. I mean, Smale she looks like a really tough bowler to face. Not only with the unconventional starting position, but the length that she gets as well as a spinner.
Well, that is a big booming drive down the ground from Stair Callis, who inches ever closer to a half century. Yet another boundary off the bat of the Dutch international moves her on to 44 from 27, which includes 8 fours.
Wow. I mean, when she plays those shots, you can see the power, but she just looks so controlled and so still. It's great.
There is a word to describe it, Charlotte, and it's languid.
It is. What a lovely word.
It is a lovely word, and what a lovely shot that was as well from Stair Callis. And that catalyses the change of approach here from Smale, who we've seen this before. Started off around the wicket, this time opts for the more defensive approach as a spin bowler, looking to utilise those sweeper fielders on the onside. She's coming over the wicket this time from the Kirkstall lane end, and that is a delightful sweep shot from Stair Callis. Meets it on the full, whips it away for 4 more runs. 9th boundary of the innings for her so far.
That's the sweep of the spinners we were talking about earlier. It's so well executed. She just watches it right under her helmet. Beautiful.
Really is. That is a very aesthetically pleasing shot from Stair Callis, and just look on the replay here. Up until the actual point of delivery, dead still.
Yeah.
With the head. Next to no movement there. That is quintessential batting, and you can see got into a good position early and kept the balance. 2 crucial components of scoring big in T20 cricket.
It's a real masterclass she's given us today.
Certainly is. So it's Scrivens again from the Howard stand end. That one is carved out in towards the covers off the back foot there from Ward. Gets the dangerous Callis back on strike, and yeah, just looking at the field placement here, I imagine if Scrivens goes a tad bit full, Callis will be looking down the ground, especially out towards that long off region. Scrivens has got the fielder in protection at long on though, so it is the Essex captain to Callis. Callis works that into the gap. They come back very through for the single. Slight bit of miscommunication there. I think the initial plan was a little bit premeditated there from Callis. Drop it into the gap and scamper through for the quick 2, but in the end restricted to just the single. So Scrivens once more, this time to Ward. Ward reverses the bat. That is one of the shots of the day. It's a quick outfield here at Headingley. Races across to the rope. And Maddie Ward, I know she's played a bit more of the supporting role here to Stair Callis, but I tell you what, she has played some excellent strokes here.
She really has. She's managed to rotate the strike when needed, but then capitalise just like right now. And it just makes all the difference, doesn't it?
It does. That is some shot, by the way.
Told you she absolutely loves the reverse sweep, and that's great to see.
Certainly is. Definitely one of the most exciting prospects in this Yorkshire side, and of course a little bit later on today in the run chase we'll see her bowling as well. So it is Scrivens to Ward again, zips that one in. Nice placement in terms of finding those gaps, rotates the strike, puts Callis back on, and yeah, just 1 run away from what would be a richly deserved half century.
Yeah, I mean, she's done it for Warwickshire. Want to see her do it here.
Well, let's see what Scrivens can concoct, trying to spoil the party here for the Dutch international. Scrivens then to Callis. Callis advances down the track, works it out onto the onside. They think about coming back for a second. There's no need to, and that brings up a thoroughly deserved half century for Stair Callis. Comes off of just 31 deliveries, includes 9 boundaries, and this was exactly the kind of knock that Yorkshire needed at this stage of the innings. The home side going along with a decent tick here, 125 for 4, as we head into the final delivery of over number 15. It's Scrivens from the Howard stand end. Gets real energy on that one, and it's worked out towards deep backward square leg for a single. So that signals the end of the over, and it will also bring about a slight change in the commentary box. So I'll stay on here for the time being, and I'll be joined by the ever excellent Michael McCann.
Thank you very much, Aaron. I'm going to have to start finding out your address to stick some checks in the post. Ridiculously kind introduction. More importantly, we've got a great game of cricket on our hands here in Yorkshire, who would have ringed this as a date in the diary right from the moment this newly created competition's draw came out and pitted them against Essex potentially in round 3, seeing a chance to prove their point as Maxud starts a new over and is swept away fine. Fielded out there by Blinkhorn-Jones. It's like a comfortable 2. It's a strange setup with the difference in these boundary sizes, because on one part of the ground 2s are very accessible, and on the other side of the ground, heading towards the eastern side, it's almost 1 or 4.
Yeah, it is. And there you go, another reverse attempted there from Ward. Seen that a few times today. Charlotte was just touching upon it there. Just didn't have the connection on that one this time. So it is Maksud yet again. Just having a chat with her captain, Scrivens, here. It's another attempted reverse, this time from the Dutch international Callis. Works it into the gloves of Carr. That will be no run.
I was going to say, yeah, thankfully she didn't work it into the gloves of Carr. She missed it.
Here is Maksud again. This time, Callis goes down the track, lofts it over the top of the fielders. One bounce over the rope for 4, goes into the seats. And Stair Callis, this is an exhibition in T20 batting so far. She has taken down the spin, taken down the Siemens. Just take a look at the confidence and assertiveness in that shot.
And if we get a chance to see it again, it's also about the footwork. Charlotte and I were talking about this earlier. See how she shimmies inside out. She moves away to the leg side to give herself space. As that time she goes on the reverse, and I'll get through for a quick single. So Stair Callis has 55 off 34 as the scoreboard ticks over. It's not quite she's playing one game and everyone else is playing a different one, but it's not too far off.
No, it isn't, but it's just been sensible cricket, I think, so far. In terms of the actual approach, she's not going hammer and tongs after every single delivery. It's a case of picking up that length nice and early, and if it's there to be hit, it's hit with great assertiveness and assuredness and confidence and brute power at times. I mean, it has been a cracking knock, this, and Yorkshire now 135 for 4 at the end of this 16th over. Callis on 55. Ward, I must say, I think is going under the radar here for her knock. 21 from 17, includes just the 2 boundaries, but she's playing that foil role to perfection so far.
Yeah, spot on, and the partnership is worth 60 off a bit of quick maths, 40 balls. Excellent.
Certainly is, and this time again Ward utilising the footwork, works that out towards deep cover for just a single. Joe Gardner doing the fielding there. I must say, Mike, it is really, really good to have someone with such excellent maths in the comms box, because I'm going to be honest, I'd be sent scrambling there. I'd need the help of a calculator for that one, but yeah, so far so good. 61 the partnership now stands at as Smale comes into bowl yet again. Callis popping it into that gap. She's almost exploited that quite a few times today. It's just a case of the fielders have come around with great intent and great speed, and as a result the intended 2s have been cut down to just singles so far. So here is Smale. Ward this time dancing down the wicket, meets that on the full, turns it into a full toss, and they'll turn this into a 2. That is excellent running from the Yorkshire pairing.
There's a lot to like about this partnership, and there's a lot to like about... remember that Ward hadn't played any senior county top-tier cricket until this season. Vice-captain, a lot of pressure on young shoulders. Well, that's away on the reverse, and that's a little bit of a Maddie Ward trademark. It's a shot I saw her playing in the nets quite a few times in pre-match, and is from that generation where it's as comfortable with a stroke like this as things that are more orthodox. Gives Smale something to think about.
It does.
She's not going to change the field, though. Certainly doesn't seem to have any real interest. She's got 3 leg side sweepers protecting that short boundary, which is understandable.
Well, let's see what Smale can craft on this one. It's another big sweep, goes up for the appeal. Umpire unmoved, and great game awareness and IQ there from the Yorkshire batters, who scarper through for the quick single, keep that scoreboard ticking, and I'll tell you what, we're inching ever closer to 150 here.
Just seeing that again, definitely going down leg with the slope.
And with the angle as well, of course, of Smale being a left-arm orthodox spinner. That's a nice bit of cricket there from Stair Callis as well, just to chip it down towards long on for the single. That will also catalyse the end of over number 17. Yorkshire 145 for 4 with Callis on 57, Ward on 28. The partnership now stands at 70, and we are getting to that stage of the innings, Michael, where I've got to ask the cliche question, but what would be a good score here for the hosts?
I think if you're Yorkshire, if Callis bats through, you may be thinking 180, not a 35 off your last three. If she can continue, if they could really have one big over, might be able to go and get beyond that, but you're probably working in and around that region. I certainly think if Yorkshire were offered this position at the toss when they were sent in, they'd have been pretty happy.
Oh, most definitely. It has been a good batting effort, this, from the home side, as Eva Gray continues her spell, this time from the Kirkstall Lane end, worked out towards deep fine leg for a single. Maddie Ward now back on strike as a result of that. Yorkshire 146 for 4, and in terms of Gray's bowling, she has been absolutely stellar so far.
Yeah, she's quietly underrated.
Well, that was an audacious shot from Maddie Ward, who is utilising every single trick in the book at the minute.
She likes that shot, Ward. She played it a few times on Thursday. She played it and got a boundary with it when she was on 6 not out off 29, which was very much a modern player's way of doing something different to get yourself into gear, giving the opposition something to think about. Now there's going to be a little delay here. This is to do with the helmet from that shot, because it has hit the helmet, so there will be a change of helmet here, so a chance for Callis and Ward to just take stock for a brief moment.
Yep, a few of the Essex fielders also taking the slight pause in play to just get rehydrated, and I suppose this moment, now more than ever, Mike, is probably a nice way to have a look at some of the other scores.
Yeah, good point. So there is it's very rare you'll hear yours truly mentioning anything to do with men's cricket on a women's cricket live stream, but we are also Yorkshire Cricket TV, so a brief update from the Oval, where in the Rothesay County Championship on the men's side, Surrey are 231 for 4, with Ben Folkes and Jason Roy out there. They're just 24 behind, 6 wickets remaining. A couple of wickets for George Hill today, a wicket each for Code and White, but the side going for a 4th county championship in a row in the ascendancy there, you'd have to say. Elsewhere in this competition, the newly created Women's T20 County Cup, we'll come back to that.
Yeah, because it is Gray coming in to resume, and Carr, that is an electrifying piece of keeping.
Ooh. Yeah, as soon as you said that, that's a perfect way to describe it. I was thinking of that Oasis song, She's Electric. That really was electric. Just watch this keeping. You're unsighted, the batter's in front of you, and it also swings from Gray because, of course, she bowls in swing and it moves as well. Highly impressive. So that's away for 1 to Maqsood. Elsewhere, Surrey are 219 for 4 in the 18th over against Hampshire in an all-tier 1 game. Northants are looking in a bit of trouble against Leicestershire. Northants leading at 116 to win, or 55 for 5.
Well, that is a big swing of the bat, comes off the outside edge, and I don't think that'll be cut off by the fielder. No, it won't. Slightly fortuitous boundary that for Yorkshire, but they won't care at this stage because it's 4 more runs added to that total. A total which is getting pretty substantial here. It's definitely a tally which the home side will be happy with.
Yeah, you can't win a game when you're sent into bat, but you can sure as heck lose it, and Yorkshire are giving themselves the chance of doing something really special here.
Well, final ball of this 18th over. Slightly wider that from Gray. Gloved cleanly by Carr, and that is a dot ball, so that will signal the end of the 18th over. Yorkshire still 151 for 4, with Callis on 62 and Ward on 29.
Almost as if to further emphasise the point that I make about Northants' struggles, they've just lost a 6th wicket, so they're 55 for 6, chasing out 117 to win against Leicestershire with just 8 overs left, so you would think that Leicestershire would be heading through in that one. Surrey going well against Hampshire. Glamorgan have lost to the Lancashire Thunder. They've won that one by 81 runs, so the Red Rose are through. And Oxfordshire are struggling against Blaze. They're 97 for 8 with 9 balls left. And Kent women have posted 193 for 2 batting first against Cambridgeshire at Fenners. Into the pads of Ward. They're going to run through for a single. Just to work you through in the tournament tree what that means. So Lancashire's win against Glamorgan means they'll play the winner of Leicestershire Northants. That looks very likely to be Leicestershire. If Yorkshire were to win this one, they would face the winner of Devon and the Birmingham Bears.
Is McGregor then in from the Howard stand ends? Now just clipped around the corner from Stair Callis.
You may have seen last night that Durham won on a super over away at Somerset in a thrilling game. And they will face the winner of Surrey against Hampshire. And then that leaves just one game to be accounted for in the tournament tree. Oxfordshire or Blaze will face Kent or Cambridgeshire as that's smashed away. Bisecting the sweepers perfectly. 4 more for Yorkshire. And it's mostly been Callis doing the damage, but this is a great shot from Maddie Ward, who's more than playing her role in this partnership, and he's steadily growing in confidence.
She definitely is, and I've been really, really impressed by the approach of Maddie Ward in this innings. It's been a very mature knock so far from the Yorkshire all-rounder, and again, if it's a bad delivery, she's picking it up, depositing it to the boundary and playing the other balls on its merits. And this one again is just clipped around towards deep backward square leg. Attempted the pull shot, didn't quite have the same connection or timing on that particular shot, but it's another single to add to the tally.
She's really benefiting from that slightly scrappy 41 on Thursday, where she had to really tough it out at the start of that innings, because she's come out today and looks so much more confident and so much more fluid.
Well, this time it's Callis, and that is another fine shot from Stair Callis. Beats the fielder, pops it into the gap, and a 12th boundary of the innings for the Yorkshire batter, who has been by far and away the standout today, of course. We're speaking about the roles of Ward and Winfield Hill and, of course, the rest of that top order. But Stair Callis, you can just see the intent has been absolutely bang on the money here today. How can McGregor respond? Well, that is aerial from Callis. Shouts of catch. It won't be caught. It goes over the top of the fielder all the way for 6. Stair Callis is putting on a show here at Headingley.
Incredible. Well, it's clever tactical batting as well. She knows that she's hitting to the short side. In truth, on the other side of the ground, hitting towards the Western Terrace, this might have been out, but she went deep in her crease and got a really nice, powerful contact on it. And Sophia Smale out there is left pretty helpless. So she picked her moment, she picked her boundary, and she picked her spot to aim at, because it's 50 metres across square on that side, but in the pockets, it's sort of in the high 40s in terms of metres. So it's very accessible. Great to bowl the final over of the innings from our end, the pavilion end. And gets funky, goes on the reverse, and that goes past short third for 4 more. Well, the runs are flying along here for Yorkshire. It's a real assault at the end of this innings from Callis and Ward, and Ward, who we know likes the deft touches behind square, produces another of them. It's a full toss from Gray. It's a rare bad ball from a bowler of her quality who now has to adjust. And this partnership is worth almost 100. Another boundary and it will be past that figure. Partnership currently worth 94 off 59. And that's well hit as well. And that will go for 4-2. My goodness me. Ward goes past the score that she made on Thursday. It is a Yorkshire high score for Maddie Ward. Just powered away for 4 more. And the 100 partnership comes up off 61 balls. 56 of those contributed by Stair Callis. 42 from Ward, who looks increasingly in great nick. That's down leg. That will need to be re-bowled. And Essex are being put under real pressure here by Yorkshire. It was a fixture that always promised so much, and it was a fixture that, while Yorkshire players didn't necessarily overly comment on it publicly, there was a fair bit of chat, including from Ward herself, about wanting to show their qualities, be ready for Tier 1 next season. So that's whipped away to deep backward square leg. That will be just one. Ward herself said we've got a hell of a lot of talent and a lot of girls that definitely should be playing regular Tier 1 cricket. So we'll keep working hard. When we get there next year, I don't think we've got anything to be afraid of. Well, she's certainly not someone who's showing a lot of fear here, Maddie Ward. And now it's Callis on strike with 3 balls left. Callis is down the track. That's straight at Maksud at long on. Well, they weren't sure if they were going to run 2, and had it been picked up cleanly, it would have been a run out, but they do get back. So Yorkshire bring up the 180 mark with 2 balls to spare. They've already added 35 off the last 16 balls. So they're going at 2 a ball at the back end of this innings. Let's flick that away, and that will go for 4 as well. Well, there was a short fine leg, but nothing that Callis was going to do to give them the chance to influence things. Callis gets it away for 4. It is raining runs here.
This is outrageous, isn't it? I think back to the first delivery of this over, Maddie Ward, the ball, I know it was a full toss, but still angling in back towards the stumps, somehow just cannons it off the bats, plays it fine enough and gets 4. And then that shot from Callis, absolutely audacious with a capital A.
Last ball of the innings from Gray. And that is going to go for 4 as well, down to that short third boundary. So intelligent from Stair Callis. Knew that that was the part of the ground she wanted to access. Just watch the footwork, steps right away. That ball is cannoning into middle and leg stump. And yet she manages to just guide it through that short third region. And Yorkshire will be really happy with that. Callis ends up on 83 not out. Ward ends up with 43. The partnership, 113 from 66 balls, from which Ward contributed 43 of them and Callis contributed 66. Those numbers speak for themselves. A great effort from Yorkshire's young pretender Maddie Ward, with her highest senior score for Yorkshire, beating the 41 that she managed on Thursday, but it was also a much better, more attacking, more fluid knock than that. And Callis with a masterful innings, which means that Yorkshire, who at one point would have been, in truth, looking somewhere in and around maybe the 150 mark, particularly when they lost a few early wickets, have posted 188 for 4. Just to run you through the scorecard, Lauren Winfield-Hill with a run of ball 24, caught by Carr off Gray. McGregor got Erin Thomas LBW for 3, and Duckworth bowled for 9 off 12. Campbell went for 4 off 6, finally getting out after 276 runs across 5 games in a Yorkshire shirt since she last did so. And then Callis and Ward both stand out with 83 and 43 not out respectively. In terms of the bowling figures, Smale wicketless for her 34 from her 4. Gray was expensive towards the end, having been tidy up top, 1 for 33 off her 4. McGregor the pick of the bowlers, 2 for 25 off 4, going at just a tickle over a run of ball. Castle very expensive in her only over not just the game but the season so far, having come into the side. Maksud went for just over 10 and over, 31 off 3. Scrivens with her offies going for 25 off 3, and Gardner picking up a wicket and going for 10 in her only over. So Yorkshire looking to make it 6 wins in a row, and they're well placed to do so here, with Essex needing 189 to win for a quarter-final spot. Earlier on pre-match, we showed you the highlights from the first innings of their Metrobank One Day Cup League 2 win against Leicestershire on Thursday, and we left it with Leicestershire having set 205, put 205 on the board, and Yorkshire needing 206 to win. Yorkshire got there, winning by 6 wickets with 16.2 overs to spare. Let's see how they did it with the second half of the highlights from that one, followed by yours truly having a chat with Grace Hall.
Hitting the ball well.
Struck
Like
that
that
one well, Thomas. That's gone through a wide mid-on position, 4 runs, her first boundary. It was a little bit too full. She went with the angle of the in-swing really well, and those fast hands came through the ball. First boundary off the bat in the reply for Yorkshire, 11 without loss after 2.
That's a great shot from Erin early on, like shows how much confidence she's got. But yeah, what I was saying.
Another drive from Winfield Hill, again to mid-off.
Good bowling here as well from Phillips. Like she's finding her line and length. Pretty good early on.
Yeah, it's just niggly, isn't it? Just niggly military medium off spin with off spin. You know what I meant. Short, whipped away. That'll be 4. Poor ball and gets the treatment it deserves. Great shot by Winfield Hill. Her first boundary. On so quickly. It's great to see people like Winfield Hill really pushing the envelope on that. Short, absolutely hammered, but straight to deep square leg by Erin Thomas.
She maybe not has got much of an opportunity over the last few years in our team.
Well, that's skied up. That could be Duckworth gone. It is Duckworth gone. So 2 wickets in and over. As you say, as well, that's very clever from Ward, who's been under a lot of pressure, really struggling to score, pulls out the scoop, nobody down there. And this time it's on the half volley and Ward skews this and gets it to the boundary at third. She wanted that to go much more through cover, but she'll take them however they comes, and suddenly Maddie Ward has back-to-back boundaries. Down the track, classic Winfield Hill, hitting the bowler off her length, meeting it on the half volley. That's a brilliant shot.
Infield quite easily.
And Winfield Hill will get more runs. There's no one behind square on the leg side. Consecutive boundaries for Lauren Winfield Hill.
This girl's a good cricketer bowling now. She batted really well.
She most certainly did. An excellent 52, and she's got a wicket to go with it. Absolutely brilliant piece of bowling. So Rathgate comes into bowl again to Campbell. Campbell dances down the track, and that is a wonderful shot from Amy Campbell. She is an exceptional cricketer, is Campbell, and again dances down the track. It's deja vu in terms of the approach. An even better play shot, though, right down the ground, up towards that sprinkler on the far rugby ground, and it's back-to-back boundaries for Amy Campbell. Let's take a look at this one and just bask in the magnificence of that. Shorts today was bitterly cold a little bit earlier on. That one has been skied by Ward. Should be a simple catch. Catch is taken. Leicestershire do get their breakthrough.
But that was a wide the previous ball, so there's times when you can just hang around, and that's just played superbly. Backwards a point for 4 runs by Nightingale.
How can Whitfield reply to that one? Bowls this one slightly shorter, and that is pulled powerfully out for another boundary. Great batting this from Ellie Nightingale. Since then, everything just seems to be clicking, and Amy Campbell has launched that for 6. Brings up her 50 in tremendous fashion. Comes up from just 30 deliveries, 4 fours, 3 sixes, striking at 166.7. Amy Campbell, take a bow. At this stage, hopefully Thatcher will continue to hang it outside off stump. Well, there you go. It's coming towards us in the comms box. Takes 1 bounce for 4.
That wasn't far off.
54 from just 34 deliveries. Just 10 more runs required for Yorkshire to taste a 4th successive victory. And this one is much bigger. It's heading towards us. It's 6 more runs off the bat of Amy Campbell, who moves on to 60 from 35. 200 comes up in outstanding fashion. Yorkshire running riot here at York Cricket Club.
As a coach, you tend to look at the partnerships as you go down the innings, and it's been a good day for Yorkshire. And that might be it.
Well, it could be. It's racing away. There's a chase in rather forlorn hope for the Leicestershire fielders. It nestles against the boundary rope, and how fitting is it that Ellie Nightingale, the Yorkshire youngster, finishes off what has been a comprehensive victory for the White Rose County here at York Cricket Club. They've chased down 206 for the loss of just 4 wickets, 16.2 overs still remaining, and Yorkshire continue their impressive form in Metro Bank One Day Cup League 2.
Vertu, official partner of Yorkshire County Cricket Club.
Grace, 2 for 20 off 7, 5 wins in a row. You must be pretty chuffed.
Yeah, feeling good, especially to kind of win in York, my hometown. Nice home crowd, got a few family in today, so I think we're feeling pretty good as a team. Like, got the momentum of the wins behind us now.
And Saturday, Essex away. There's been a lot of chat, the opportunity to have a Tier 1 side come to Headingley.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. How does that feel?
It feels good. I think we tried to not take away from today's game, obviously, and prepping for 2 games at once, especially knowing that is a big opportunity for us. But I think we're rating ourselves on how we know we can play. And I think if that's the attitude we go to the game with, we'll be in a really good place. We're playing some really good cricket, so hopefully we can show the Tier 1 teams what we're about.
And you're very modest, but you individually also playing some very good cricket. Baby Malinga, the sun, both in and outside the pen of nickname. Talk us through how that ends up being your bowling action.
So I was obviously playing at different age groups at different times, different size pitches. So it kind of became how I bowled pretty early on. So I just stuck with it. People have found it tricky to face, I think, in the nets when we're training through winter. A few of the girls saying, I can't pick where you're bowling it from, I can't see the ball in your hand, and it's actually worked in my favour, really.
But it just started as a way of actually making sure you got the ball down the pitch, you weren't bowling short.
Yeah, well, when I was playing men's cricket and jumping to a bigger size pitch and a bigger ball, I felt like I had to kind of rotate a little bit further to get it up the pitch. I think that was kind of a beneficial point, really.
And over time, you said you've been bowling like that now consistently for 6-7 years from when you were 15 years old. That's now settled in. How fun is it for you to go to every game and know that you're bringing that point of difference?
No, I think it is cool. I think I know my role in the team, and I think before I've almost been not pinpointed, but put as a T20 player, because it is that point of difference, and I'm kind of use my variations from the angle, and it's quite difficult to face. But I'm trying to embed myself into 50-over cricket and what that works and what works for the team with my action in that sense as well.
And today, a maiden in the 47th over, those deaf skills really coming through, that must have been super satisfying.
Yeah, I think I expected them to come at me a bit harder, but I think that's some of the stuff I've been working really hard on over winter is death skills. My role in the team is to bowl middle overs and death, and I think that currently I'm kind of feeling really good with them.
And it wasn't that long ago that you were still working out how your future looked, and now you've got a maiden 2-year professional contract. So how's that been to make cricket the sole focus of life?
No, it's been really exciting. I think like the last couple of years I've been balancing obviously doing a degree and playing, and then I had an injury through the summer, so I didn't play a lot of cricket last year, so I was still a bit like, oh, how's that going to go coming into the winter? But yeah, it's been really exciting to just kind of fully channel professional cricketer, I guess. It's given me the best opportunity to play as well on the pitch.
And when you were that 15-year-old that was still working out that slingy bowling action and the length of pitches required for the different age group and senior games that you were playing on, would you have believed yourself if you were to be told that all those years later you'd be playing as a fully professional cricketer for Yorkshire, particularly at York, and doing what you've done today?
Oh, it's cool when you say it like that. I think it took me a long time to kind of process that was my full-time job. And at 15, I probably didn't think that was even an option. There was more visibility. Obviously, you had the likes of Laws and Langers. They were always professional, and I watched them as a kid. But for me, myself, and playing domestic cricket, I didn't actually think that would have been a job for me. So yeah, really exciting opportunity.
And someone like a Beth Langston, who she was playing for England around the time where you as a teenager were figuring out your bowling action, and now you're in the same team together. That must be pretty cool as a learning opportunity, even though you're different types of bowlers.
Yeah, I've known Langers a while now, and we were chatting earlier about, actually I came to watch a Yorkshire Diamonds game here in the KSL, and she was playing, and kind of feels like she's been around and got all this knowledge that, like, you could just be a sponge and soak up everything that she's saying. She's so smart about how she bowls, and like, it's cool that I get to work alongside her now.
And a chance as well to play regular senior cricket throughout the season. How much does that mean to you? Because, you know, you come on the scene, you'd had some breakthrough performances, particularly think back to that 4 for Beckenham against Stars, but the chance to be regularly in a team and knowing your role.
Yeah, I think all we want to do is play as much cricket as we can. That's how you get better. And as much as I could train and work really hard through the winter, if I'm not playing cricket through the summer, you kind of not able to get better and be put in those situations. So I think this year's a really good chance for me to play as much cricket as possible and expose myself to situations that maybe I've not had before. I do think that it's tough. I had that my first season, I played a lot of cricket, luckily because I played well.
So all ready for the first ball of the reply, which is a dot ball for Yorkshire, just pushed out by Scrivens into the offside. Great to have a little catch up with Grace Hall, who bowled so well against Leicestershire on Thursday. 2 for 20 off her 7. This time Scrivens comes down the track, hits that very hard, and that's a magnificent caught and bowled by Claudie Cooper. My goodness me, that is outrageous. An incredible catch. How has she held on to that? That is absolutely outrageous. And Grace Scrivens, arguably the key wicket in this Essex batting lineup, has to go. Cooper, away to her right, takes it one-handed. Wow.
Well, I'm stunned into silence, to be honest, Mike. What a start this is to the run chase for Yorkshire. That is absolutely ludicrous from Claudie Cooper. She's been an outstanding signing. Oh, let's just bask in the replay of that one. Laser-like reflexes, razor-sharp reactions, and to take that catch, even to get a hand on that, that would be impressive by itself. To catch it, that is a whole different other level.
That is one of those that if you stop it and you save 4 runs, everybody says great stop. And the way she was mobbed by her entire team told you a lot about that, in truth. My. Well, if it wasn't game well and truly on with 189 to win, it really is now. The pressure is all on Tier 1 Essex. Scrivens is gone for a 2-ball duck, and here's Cooper, who this time concedes the first run of the innings. Eva Gray just working it away, and Claudie Cooper continues her exceptional run, the only blot being Thursday, of 6 games in 7 now where she's taken a wicket in her first over. She blamed yours truly for mentioning that stat on commentary on Thursday just before the first time she wasn't able to pick up a wicket in her first 6 balls. And it is now Lizzie McLeod, one of the veterans of this Essex side, a highly experienced, impressive player with a best of 45 against Lancashire this season, facing up and crashing that one down the ground. Lovely shot from McLeod. Won't need to run for that one. First boundary of the reply for Essex. 5 for 1.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's all happening, isn't it, in this opening over. That is a delightful shot from McLeod, especially after a wicket has fallen, to still take the proactive approach. That is very, very high standard of batting. But just watching now, the fielder has been moved out towards long on, so Cooper just going a little bit more defensive with regards to the field settings. It goes down to that aforementioned fielder at long on, but I'm still absolutely amazed by that catch. That is one of the catches that we'll see this season.
Yeah, JFB on YouTube said the way the hand goes back after taking it, that's amazing. Just watch there, you see, and that's because of the sheer power that's on it. It's an outrageous catch. Cooper again, and this time is being guided straight back to her. There's, as you'd expect, plenty of intensity, plenty of noise out there from Yorkshire. End of the first over, 6 for 1. And those celebrations tell you a lot, because every team celebrates a wicket, but most wickets aren't celebrated quite like that.
No, that was Well, we keep on saying outrageous. It was mind-blowing, that from Claudie Cooper. I still don't understand how on earth she's taken that. And of course, it's not just the catch itself. That would be a big moment, just as a solo thing. But it's Scrivens.
Do you know about how they work on these with the tennis rackets?
Go on.
So it's very much a modern era thing. Yorkshire do it, lots of teams do it. You bowl the ball and someone is stood kind of broadly around where a batter would be in the net. And as soon as you've bowled the ball, they smash another ball that's a tennis ball at you with a tennis racket. They don't smash a hard ball, they don't want to injure you. Langston with her first over from the pavilion end and starts with one back of a length that's guided into the covers by McLeod. And so obviously don't want injury risk, that's why they use the tennis ball, but it comes from broadly a similar area to where the batter would be, and it gets you used to bowling the ball and moving rapidly out of that moment into, oh, I've got to take a catch. And, well, clearly that training method has been working for Claudie Cooper in Yorkshire.
Well, it has. That's genius. That's something to take to the village greens, I think. Goodness me, that is an inspired drill. It's Langston then from this Kirksall Lane end. It goes underneath the fielder. I think this will be slashed away for 4. Indeed it is. So, a couple of boundaries from Lizzie McLeod just to relieve the pressure from Essex in what has been a good start to this run chase from the home side Yorkshire. But, yeah, just adding a little bit of compactness and resolve so far is McLeod, as we just see that replay beating the efforts of the fielder Amelia Love. As Langston gets ready to bowl this next delivery. McLeod advances down the wicket. There's some hands on heads behind the stumps there. Almost whistle past the outside edge. No connection with it, fortunately, for the Essex opener, but Beth Langston so far this season, Mike, has been one of the real standout bowlers in this Yorkshire side.
So her economy rate across both formats is just under 3 and over.
That is quite the shrewd start to the campaign, isn't it? That one dropped slightly shorter and worked out towards a wide-ish mid-off for 1. Good running there from the Essex pair. Yeah,
and she had that dubious honour on Thursday of being the bowler that everyone at the ground who was there would have known bowled better than anyone else, and yet was the only bowler that went wicketless. None for 12 off 7 against Leicestershire. She only didn't bowl her 10 because they wanted to just help save some gas in the tank for knowing that today was coming round the corner.
Well, here is Langston once more, this time to Eva Gray. Gray getting inventive, doesn't get the connection at all. She was outside of her ground there for a split second. Thankfully got the bat back into the crease, but yeah, maybe not the shot to be playing at this stage of the run chase after.
It would be good to have another look at that. She's tried to get it over the keeper's head. That's what she's looking to do. There's no real fielder fine either side of square of the wicket. So she's aiming for that ramp, just didn't quite come off.
Well, let's see what she'll follow that one up with. It's a big hack outside the off stump, and that is a fine first over from Beth Langston. Goes for just 5 runs, and Essex 11 for 1 after 2, and completely echo the sentiment from Thursday. That opening spell to Brooker and Bennett, every single delivery, something was happening.
Yeah, so in that 5 over spell, 11 for 1 after 2 here then. Required run rate's already up at 9.89. In that 5 over opening spell from Langston on Thursday, it was 41% of the deliveries she bowled were played and missed at, which is pretty extraordinary, even when you think of a new ball on a pitch that was offering a bit. Now, someone who will feel very confident is Maddie Ward, because she came out with a bat, played her best innings for Yorkshire yet. She's driven straight by McLeod. She's driven brilliantly, and she's driven for 6. Powerful and precise from McLeod, who's known for being very strong down the ground, and we're seeing that early on in this inning. She's carrying Essex early doors.
Yeah, certainly is, just playing to her strengths early on in this run chase, and didn't really move the feet too much there. It was just a case of picking up the right length of delivery nice and quickly, knowing that it's a go-to shot in the arsenal, and yeah, that is a great way to immediately put Maddie Ward under pressure. How can Ward respond? Well, that's a lovely clip through mid-wickets. They think about coming back for a second. There was a slight little meeting in the middle of the two, but wisely opt against it, just the 1 run taken on that occasion, and that will be crucial for Essex in this innings. They've got to rotate the strike well. It's something which Callis and Ward did exceptionally in that 113 run partnership, and there's another wicket here, this time for Maddie Ward, and it's Eva Gray who has to depart. Yorkshire well on top here at Headingley. Essex 18 for 2.
Well, McLeod might be going well, but she's lost a couple of the partners. It's a slightly tame dismissal in truth. It's just chipped straight to short mid-wicket. Can't keep Cooper out of the game at the moment. Went on the slog soup, Gray. You can understand the option. She's trying to access the short boundary, but she doesn't really commit to rolling the wrists on it to keep it down or going up and over that short mid-wicket fielder, and that's what means that it actually comes out at a very comfortable catching height, and Yorkshire are well and truly up and about as Sophia Smell joins Lizzie McLeod. Smell with number 34 from her 4 with the ball. Best of 40 this season with the bat in the opener against Durham. Then had a few cameos since, without necessarily going on as she might have liked.
Well, I think it is interesting, the last game against Durham batting at 4, and of course that is her position in the T20 side as well. So here is Ward looking for a second wicket on what has been another magnificent day for the Yorkshire all-rounder.
But remember, one advantage Yorkshire have is they've had a couple of T20 competitive games this season already. Essex have not.
I know, it's a very, very good point to make. Attempted reverse there from Sophia Smale is something that she's got in the locker.
So these sides faced off in pre-season in a T20 tournament in Abu Dhabi, but since then, in the competitive campaign, Essex have had 7 50-over games, and that's it until today.
Ward once more, and again dancing down the wicket this time is Smale. Goes for a big hoik out towards mid-wicket, misses everything, and that will be brought back in by Duckworth. Just restricts it to 2 byes on that occasion.
Yeah, tricky one for Winfield Hill. It just went down the slope. One of those proper how did that miss as well. Not far away at all from second wicket in the over for Ward, who picked up a couple on Thursday. Esther Callis has got the ball in her hand. That would be something of a surprise. Was giving the seam a little bit of rub there, but he's just passing it on to Langston. Langston, once upon a time in England international, 6 caps across a 4-year span, and then was a non-playing member of that World Cup winning squad in 2017.
What a moment that was for the English game. It is Langston into bowl here. We'll start off with a dot. Some nice fielding there from Erin Thomas in the covers. Yeah, that was an outstanding tournament, wasn't it? Still remember that final at Lord's. Anya Shrubsole with the heroics. Real watershed moment for cricket in this country.
And of course, the World Cup back in next summer.
Yes, that should be another brilliant tournament. Here is Langston again. This time, McLeod advances a few steps. Well, there could be a chance for a run out. Langston wasn't there at the stumps. Direct hit. Would have seen the back of Sophia Smale, but...
Yeah, it was Duckworth who had the chance. It really is all happening out there. You can't take your eyes off this game. Smale starts running, ends up in the middle of nowhere, in truth.
Could be a big moment in hindsight. It's Langston again, and that is a big whack of the bat. It's working its way out towards deep point. Will it be cut off? No, it won't. Another boundary off the bat of Lizzie McLeod, who's playing quite the counter-attacking innings here. 21 not outs at the minutes, including 3 fours and a 6.
Yeah, McLeod realises that with 189 to win, even if they have lost wickets, they've got to grab a decent amount off the power play, Essex. That required run rate is already at 10, even after that boundary.
Wow. Already quite the mountain to climb for the visitors. It's Langston to McLeod again. Plays that one very straight, only as far as Thomas on the bounce. So that is another dot ball. And it's interesting making the comparison between the two sides, of course, because after 3 overs, Yorkshire were, 15 for 1? It was a very
Certainly were. Spot on.
resolute bowling display from Essex up until that point, and then it was the pressure release of the 4th over, going for 24 runs, and all of a sudden you could just see the body language, the confidence was almost instilled in the home side. And of course the headline from today's game, if Yorkshire are to get through to that game against Devon or the Birmingham Bears, will be that partnership between Callis and Ward. This one very full from Langston. That's some excellent fielding yet again, and this is something we've seen a lot this season. It's been a real strength of Yorkshire, hasn't it, in terms of backing up the bowlers with solid ground fielding.
Yeah, and the other dynamic to this is that this is an Essex batting lineup who've been under pressure with the bat this season. They've struggled, albeit in 50-over cricket, to function as they would like, and now they're under real pressure in a T20 run chase.
Well, they really are. It's been a good start this for the home side. It's Langston again. This one slightly shorter than the last one. Again, more indecision. Another shot at the stumps there from Duckworth. I wonder if McLeod would have been...
would have made it back that time. Just.
Well, it would have been a different story for Smale if we just see the replay on this one. Didn't quite have the same decision-making there.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
I think there was a slight bit of hesitation between the two Essex batters. It was... yeah, just reflexes, though, I think, from Duckworth on that occasion.
4 overs gone, 25 for 2 then. So they're going just a tickle above a run and a ball, Essex. 10.25 needed to win. To go back to the point about the Essex batting lineup, this season, 177 all out against Durham, 181 all out against Warwickshire, 184 all out against Somerset, a successful chase of 231 to win against Lancs. It's a new over from Cooper starts by being firmly driven by McLeod. He's so strong in that part of the ground for 1 to long on. And then after that successful chase, posted 231 and lost against Blaze, made 256 against Hampshire, lost by 17 runs, and were 178 all out against Durham. So as a batting lineup, it's not a batting lineup with great confidence and great runs flowing through it at the moment, Essex. Short and dropped at mid-wicket. Dropped at short mid-wicket by Maddie Ward, who up until that moment could do no wrong today. Had hit 43 not out with the bat, had picked up a wicket herself, but this time can't return the favour to Cooper. Well, it was hit hard, but Ward will be disappointed with that. Yorkshire will know it's a chance gone, and Smale is living quite the charmed life here. And to make matters worse for Yorkshire, it looks like in dropping the catch, Ward has injured herself, which is not good news for Yorkshire, because that's a bowling option potentially going down too.
Yeah, we can but hope that this isn't a serious injury to the hand, or there'll be more the fingers, won't it, of Maddie Ward on that occasion, just burst through on that occasion. But
looks like it's the sort of right wrist that she's holding in particular discomfort. So Rhea Fackrell, the 12th, might be needed to come on. And indeed, Fackrell, 77 on her back, is heading out, and Ward is trooping off for further attention, gets a good ovation as she goes. And it is pain in both senses for Maddie Ward, unable to hold on to the catch and off injured as a result. Yorkshire will hope it's not a turning point in the game. McLeod with 23 off 15 has looked comfortably the most impressive batter at the crease today for Essex. It's McLeod, who's been around the top tier of English women's domestic cricket for a long time, and this time is threading it through wide mid-off. That is an outrageously good shot. We saw similar stuff from Callis earlier on, getting inside out against the spinner. Just watch McLeod's footwork here. Just steps away a little, gives her the room to drive so fluidly.
yeah, it is. It's a very fluent shot, that, isn't it, from McLeod, and you could hear a real crack of the bat on the FX mic as well. Just nice cricket, that. Made room for herself to open up the arms and expand it through the covers. How can Cooper reply on that occasion? Well, it's attempted to be flicked out towards mid-wicket, only as far as the substitute fielder Fackrell along the floor. So another dot ball here for Claudie Cooper, who unsurprisingly has had another good start in this game. Currently has the Figures of 1 for 12 from her first 10 deliveries.
That's straight at square leg off the bat of McLeod. And it's hard to overemphasise as well, of all the people you're going to take a screamer of a catch to get rid of in this Essex lineup, Grace Scrivens is the one you would pick. She has been comfortably their best bat this season.
Well, she has been absolutely outstanding in the Metro Bank One Day Cup, and that's an outstanding shot from McLeod, straight as an arrow, one bounce over the rope for 4 more. It's a 5th boundary to go along with the 6 earlier on from the Essex opener, and yeah, just adds an extra little bit of flair and flourish to that over.
So 5 overs gone, 35 for 2. Aaron Vowles will swap with Charlotte Ashton alongside me. Yorkshire will be the more content of the two sides with the early part of the run chase, but this is a ground today with a short boundary on one side and a pitch that Classic Headingley is playing better than it looks. There's green on it, but it's not too threatening, and an outfield that is absolutely rapid. So it's all set up for quick scoring, and it's all set up for a frantic finish as Olivia Thomas comes on to bowl and Charlotte settles in alongside me.
What a start that was. Crikey.
Yeah, that was properly
two
one of those
balls
catches
in.
that you remember if you were at the ground, right?
Absolutely. An absolute stunner from Claudie Cooper there.
Olivia Thomas on. She's had an excellent start to the season. Is putting in quite a case to get herself upgraded from an academy to a full-time Yorkshire contract. It's down the ground from Smell. She won't get anything there. Good fielding by Campbell away to her left. And of all the people you'd pick, Scriven's the second highest run scorer in the top tier 50 over competition this season. Only Emma Lamb's got more runs, including a ton against Hampshire. Out for a duck. Here's Thomas, smacked away. That will be 4 through Cal. Good committed shot. It's to the long boundary, but when you time it that well, it doesn't matter. So Smell, who's lived something of a charmed life, gets her second boundary.
Yeah, that was a lovely shot. Really picking that gap nicely. Liv Thomas is going to have to do something a little bit here to challenge Smale, I think. Just because Smale's got that talent with the bat, and Liv is obviously still very early on in her career.
Yeah, Olivia Thomas once upon a time on the other side of the Pennines, but with the amount of wickets she's taken for the White Rose this season, Yorkshire fans can quickly forgive that. Thomas again, that's a full bunger, and it goes in the same spot, and it goes for 4 more. So pressure being firmly put on the leg spinner here, who's got to find some answers and has got to find them quickly.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Liv Thomas does now. She works very hard. She's a strong all-rounder, having contributed with the bat as well for Yorkshire recently. So this is a real test for her.
Yeah, Thomas with a best of 4 for 15 or 5 in the 50 over win at Derbyshire. 5 wickets in 2 games in this competition so far. So that's fielded by Callis at mid-off. Could come back with a dot, but it's no disrespect to Derbyshire or Staffordshire to say that it's a sterner test for Thomas here today. Well bowled by Thomas, who gets no reward for it. I think it came off a bottom edge, and it will in fact go for 4 despite a despairing dive from Duckworth.
Yeah, she seemed to mix that up a little bit there. Liv Thomas obviously has the advantage of being having quite a bit of pace with her leggies. And I think that really sets her aside, whereas that seemed to really catch Smale off guard.
Yeah, we have another look here, right off the bottom edge, and it's not far away from the leg stump either. So just a moment there while that replay was happening. Winfield Hill, the skipper, came down to have a chat with her leg spinner. Thomas again, guided straight to point.
That was a really neat bit of bowling.
End of the power play, 47 for 2 off 6. McLeod has dominated the scoring. She has 31 off 19. And Thomas ends up going for 12, all in boundaries. Only tells so much of the story. Elsewhere, there's a story brewing between Surrey and Hampshire. Hampshire is 70 without loss after 4 overs, needing 238 to win on what is clearly something of a road. Blaze are almost through to the quarterfinals. They're 68 without loss off 9, chasing 98 to win against Oxfordshire. It would be a shock if they were to lose that. bit more of an even game at Fenners, albeit Kent are in the ascendancy. Cambridgeshire need 194 to win. They're 41 for 2 off 5. And Leicestershire have beaten Northants in an all Tier 2 clash by 41 runs. So Leicestershire, as well as Lancashire Thunder, who beat Glamorgan, are definitely through. Change of bowling. Baby Malinga's on. Grace Hall. 2 for 20 off 7 on Thursday. She bowled very well. Yorkshire will hope that she can repeat that here. Short, hammered out to deep mid-wicket by McLeod for 1.
Yeah, that was nice. Strong start for Gracie.
And I know that performance meant a particular amount to her because she's a local to York, so she had a lot of friends and family at that one, she was telling me afterwards, so it's a nice moment for her. She was talking about how she wouldn't have really believed it if a few years ago she'd have been told that she was a fully professional cricketer playing for Yorkshire in a game at York of all places. Short and just helped on its way, but kind of scooped up rather than necessarily using the pace of Hall. So Duckworth can field at the expense of 1.
Yeah, got away with that, I think, really.
Yeah, many a time that balloons up for a simple catch at short fine leg or short third. Smellhead just not quite getting the angle right on the scoop.
Yeah, she might need to get a bit lower.
Short again from Hall, who's just struggling to find that fuller length early on. And that time is only punished for 2 because of some fantastic work out there by Langston on the long boundary. It's a really fast outfield today, which makes life tough, but that's a great bit of work from the fast bowler.
That was excellent from Langston. Really, really committed fielder.
Yeah, and the replay only tells you so much in terms of the ground she covered to get there. Slower ball from Hall, straight at extra cover. Required run rate just ticking up. It's at 10.35.
Liv Thomas just loves getting stuck in there, doesn't she, in the covers?
Yeah, she's one of those fielders that wants to be in the action. She's always either at short cover or at deep mid-wicket. And that's always a sign that A, management thinks you're a good fielder, and B, that you want to be in and about it.
Yeah,
and in fact,
really strong all-rounder. Got so much energy.
They've stuck Cooper in the covers as well. They've effectively got sort of an extra cover and a cover now, both very close to each other. Yorkshire. Short again. Hall struggling with her length just a little bit. This is out between the 2 sweepers. They are going to take 2. And the throw is just a little bit errant, but I think even if it was a good one, it would have scampered back. That's nice running from McLeod and Smell. There was 2 there, but they had to be fully committed to it right from the moment the ball came off the bat.
Yeah, that was smart running, good communication, really. Made the decision nice and early. Perfect.
Just to confirm as well, it will be Leicestershire versus Lancashire in one quarter-final after their victories earlier. Smashed down the ground from McLeod, and that will go for 4. Well, quite a heavy proportion of her runs have not just come in the V, but in a very narrow V, Lizzie McLeod, and that pattern was followed there again. So boundary off the last, 57 for 2 off 7. That's a good over for Essex again, and suddenly a partnership is building quite nicely between these two. They've put on 39, pretty good time, and they're keeping that required run rate in check.
Yeah, that speedy sort of few boundaries have really helped Essex here. Obviously, we were 50-odd for 3 when we were batting, but Essex seemed to be rebuilding, and rebuilding well.
Yeah, these two came together with the score at 18 for 2 off 2.3. So from 27 balls, they've added 39, and that is pretty much bang on the required rate. Here's Amelia Love, back from school. Of her in swing. That's firstly found the inside edge of Smell's bat. Was one of the more straightforward bits of team news I've ever done in a coin toss interview, in almost a decade of being fortunate enough to do this job. It was something I confirmed beforehand with Lauren Winfield Hill, but you know, as you do, you ask why the 2 changes, and he said, well, Amelia Love couldn't play on Thursday because she was at school. Wasn't an option available to me, but today is Saturday, so she's not. Love is doing her GCSEs, and to make all of you at home feel very old, She was born in February 2009, which I imagine plenty of us can remember roughly what we were up to in 2009. Amelia Love wasn't even born. Here she is playing for Yorkshire.
It's a remarkable story, really, isn't it?
Yeah, took a fourfer on debut here against Worcestershire. She's got a reinforced deep set leg side field. So that's smashed down the ground for 1 to Campbell. Now she's got to be really disciplined with this field, Love. She's got most of her sweepers protecting the leg side bigger boundary. That means she can't afford much width here to Smell, because Smell might want to go inside out and try and access that shorter offside boundary.
Absolutely, she needs to be nice and tight, which is something that she can do. But obviously, with her being a little bit younger, you can obviously expect maybe a little bit more leeway in that sense as well.
Love swinging it in. Will want to go stump to stump. And as expected, Smell was trying to make room, but Access is the only deep set fielder on that offside, out at deep cover. Smell's got 16 off 13. She's very much playing the supporting hand. The player who's carrying this Essex run chase right now is Lizzie McLeod, who has just short of a season's best here.
It's been really strong from McLeod.
Short and hit hard down the ground again, which has been the primary theme of this innings, but Campbell's there. One more. Fascinating to see how Winfield Hill goes about juggling her bowlers here, particularly if there's every chance, as it seems, that we're not going to see Maddie Ward again. Wardy bowled 1 over earlier on.
That was tough because Maddie can really generate that pressure and really turn those screws for batters. It's a tough loss, if that's the case.
Short again from Love. Well fielded by Campbell in the ring, and a direct hit might well have seen the end of Smell. That is excellent work from Campbell, and the head on the hands from the experienced batter tells you that she thought that she got Smell had she hit, and that replay confirms it. Smell's bat was in the air. Smell hadn't even got to the point of looking to ground her bat. So far short was she. Just watch here. Oh, yeah. Absolutely a goner. Had it hit. Out to deep mid-wicket. One more. Regardless of that, a good over for Yorkshire, even if they might have been left ruining not getting a run out. Amelia Love, 16 years old, in a pressure third round game against a Tier 1 team, concedes 6 from her first over. 8 gone. 63 for 2. Required run rate just ticks up to 10.5.
This is going to be such a good season for Amelia Love. I can feel it already. The amount of change and sort of maturing that she'll have to undergo at the moment.
And you of course saw this, didn't you? So at first hand, because you were on tour with the women's team in Abu Dhabi. These 7 rookies that got their chance to be part of that, and it's safe to say right now Amelia Love is the one that's having the biggest breakthrough. At
the moment, yeah. I mean, we've got a few others. Holly Garton really starred out on tour as well. 16-year-old leg spinner. Took the wicket of Sophia Dunkley out there, so that was really special to witness. But Amelia Love, she's so consistent, got such a steady head on her shoulders. She's level-headed, she's very mature for her age as well, which is all markers of a great cricketer, really.
Absolutely. Thomas is back for a second over and has swapped ends. Went for 12 from her first. Steps across, straight short backward square. Yorkshire have just got to find a way of finding a note to her school that just says, "Hi, is there any chance? Look, I know it's a Thursday, but we're not even calling her up for the under-16s. We're calling her up for the seniors. Is there any chance you could just have a day off school, an afternoon? Can we work something out?" Inside out from McLeod. Big chase needed from the sweeper. It's a beautiful cricket shot from McLeod. Not dissimilar to Callis earlier on, and it's the second time McLeod's done that. Steps away, makes room, and then gets the fast hands through the ball in that kind of extra cover area.
Yeah, it was lovely. I mean, there's not much Stir Callis could have done about that. She had to make quite the ground there.
Really held the pose as well. You could tell that McLeod was happy with it, and she knew that she picked the gap. She did that thing good batters do when they know they've found the gap. They sort of trot down to the other end, but knowing that really this is a cursory procedure. Straight back at Thomas. Well, I mentioned it on Thursday that Yorkshire had this curate's egg of a season where they hadn't really got to a game yet in the competitive part of the campaign where a run chase had got remotely tight. That's definitely going to change today. Met on the full toss by McLeod for one more. She's 2 short of her 50.
That's what we were looking forward to, weren't we? A nice, exciting, close finish.
Everybody wants a close game. I think even the most passionate Yorkshire fan on this stream would want that close game, that sense of nip and tuck, a real arm wrestle. And Yorkshire thoroughly well beaten here by Worcestershire in their opening game of the campaign, and then 5 wins since that have been very dominant. Straight back to Thomas by Smale. He fields well in a follow through and is eyeing the chance to run Smale out. Should say as well the 50 partnership has come up with that previous single. It's been a good rebuild from this pair, coming together at 18 for 2.
It really has. It feels like I've blinked and Smells on 17 now.
Smale playing second fiddle. Still an important part of the orchestra. Down the ground from Smell, who will keep the strike with that single. End of the 9th, 69 for 2. That required rate is just creeping up though. That's the encouraging thing for Yorkshire. Required rate is 10.91.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking a bit neck and neck at the moment, really. Obviously, I know they're a little bit behind their Essex, but with a couple of big overs, that could change everything very, very quickly.
And we've definitely seen the outfield is quick. The weather that we've had in this part of the region for the last few weeks is really affecting things. The outfield is fast, but also that short boundary can be very accessible. If a bowler loses their line, a batter gets on top in an individual contest. Love back for a second over. Her first was very good. Only conceded 6. Only conceded a single from the start of her second. Well, they're going to get 2. They're going to get a buzzer. So that's a little bit unlucky for Love. You can understand why Duckworth shied, but because of the deep set onside field, there was no one really who was obviously well placed to back up in the ring.
Yeah, they're picking the chances well, are Essex at the moment.
Full from Love. Straight to Campbell, who this time will have a go. It's been like the coconut shy in this innings for Yorkshire. It feels like quite a few players have had a chance at one point. I mean, I say that Smell would have made it in there.
One's got a hit at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. And good teams shy at the stumps. That's what most coaches say. Good teams shy at the stumps, and they understand that someone will be there to back up.
Of course.
You never blame the thrower for overthrows so much as the lack of backing up.
It just shows such strong awareness of the situation as well.
The value of a wicket here to break this partnership is huge for Yorkshire. Struck hard to Campbell, who's been something of a ball magnet down at mid-on. That's a comfortable trotted single.
It's interesting with Campbell because she's clearly loving fielding on the boundary. She's really stuck in on all the action. But equally, she absolutely loves it at slip, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's one of these players. She's a bit of a Thomas. She likes to be in the game. I think particularly when you're a batter, you want to be not only pride yourself on being a good fielder, but you want the ball coming to you because otherwise, particularly in a 50-over game, it can feel like quite a long day if you're in one of the spots where it doesn't come quite as often.
You've got to make the fielding fun.
Absolutely. So we got a result from elsewhere. Blaze have polished off Oxfordshire by 10 wickets with 9 overs to spare. So a pretty comprehensive job done by Blaze in that one.
Wow.
Unsurprising, relatively. Love is whipped away, going with the in-swing angle from Smale. And that will be 1. So again, this is good control from Love, who has bowled 10 balls now and gone for 11, which in this situation they'd be very happy with. Blaze will be away in the next round, and they'll face the winner of the game between Kent and Cambridgeshire, which increasingly looks like it will be Kent.
It'd be quite the upset if it was Cambridgeshire, wouldn't it?
Certainly would be. Tier 3 side have won a couple of games to get that far. Sounded good off the bat, but it's straight at mid-off. Callis gathers cleanly. Another single. And that is 50 for Lizzie McLeod. It's a great knock. It's held together the innings for Essex. It is a 33-ball 50. She's trying to effectively do a version of matching the knock that Stair Callis played for Yorkshire. We'll want to go and bat on through. Try and see Essex home to a famous win. This time Smell gets this out. Hits it straight at Thackrell, who's on 12th in the absence of Maddie Ward. End of the 10th over. After some further thoughts from Charlotte, she'll be joined by Aaron Viles.
Yeah, that 50 was so controlled, powerful when needed. It just felt really measured in all the right ways as well. It was really nice to see.
It certainly was, Charlotte, and shame we didn't have the comms cam on there because we've just had the change efficiency of an F1 pit stop between me and Mike. Very impressive stuff, that. But I did just have a look in the YouTube comments, and thank you to each and every single person tuning into the Vertu live stream today with regards to an injury update on Maddie Ward. We haven't had anything as of yet. She went off the field a few overs ago, looked like a wrist injury, so we'll try and keep you updated as best as we can. Here is Grace Hall taking the pace off of that one. Played out in towards deep cover for a single, but in terms of this stage of the game, Charlotte, 76 for 2. Looking at that required run rate of touching 11.5, Yorkshire definitely the happier of the two.
Oh yeah, I'd say so. I mean, Essex have proven that they can motor on. Smale and McLeod have worked so hard out there. So a couple of expensive overs for Yorkshire and it could be the other way.
It could be, and that is the volatile nature of T20 cricket, and that is an exceptional shot from Lizzie McLeod. We spoke earlier about the fact that she's playing so many of her shots down the ground. I took a look at the wagon wheel. 34 of those first 50 came down the ground, either through to long off or long on. That certainly was not in the V, though. That is an outstanding shot out towards deep square leg.
Yeah, lovely. Went right into the stands as well.
Yeah. Took a very favourable ricochet, that, didn't it?
Yeah.
Off the boundary rope and into the stands. Plenty of people out there today, but they're absolutely loving the weather here in Leeds. It is a stunning day in the north of England, and that is another hefty shot down the ground from Lizzie McLeod. Think about coming back for a second. Could be a chance here of a run out, and given! There's the breakthrough that Yorkshire are after. And let's be honest, it was one which was coming. We've seen quite a bit of indecision between the two Essex batters throughout this partnership, a partnership which is broken on 63 for the third wicket. Great piece of fielding, good bit of teamwork. Essex now 81 for 3.
Stair Callis again, absolutely starring today. Such a smart player. Gracie, nice and keyed in up at the wicket. Brilliant, absolutely crucial.
Really is, and we'll take a look at this yet again. The throw from Callis is absolutely bang on the money. Takes a little bit of a sharp bounce. Hall does well just to adjust the body and get into a good position. Whips off the bails in a flash, breaks the stumps, and also breaks the partnership. Sophia Smale, the latest Essex batter to depart. Yeah, that could be a big moment in this game as Jo Gardner, the ever reliable and experienced middle order batter, makes her way out into the middle.
Yeah, this could be interesting now.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. Has been a great game of cricket this. A great advert for this new competition as well.
Really has. It's been really exciting the whole way through. Plenty of action. Who wouldn't love it?
Oh, exactly. It is. It's the magic of the Cup, and how fitting actually that today is the final of the FA Cup. And here we are watching cricket's version of that most storied and illustrious competition. This really has been a great encounter to watch, and that one is spooned up in the air. It drops into no man's land. Eventually Callis will come across to restrict it to a single, but what a performance this has been from Yorkshire, who right from ball one, I know it wasn't the biggest of overs per se in terms of just 8 runs coming from it, but you could see the intent of Winfield Hill. This is a side who are really, really up for this competition. And they are on the front foot here on home soil. It's Hall again with that slingy action played out on the offside for no run. And in terms of the confidence boost that this would give the side, Charlotte, it would be massive.
Oh yeah, it'd be huge. I mean, they all, we spoke to Grace after the Leicestershire game on Thursday, and she was saying, if we do what we say we're going to do, there's no reason why we can't win. And that attitude is just paramount, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Proper good attitude that in the game of cricket, as Gardner looks to score her first runs off the bat. Can't do so on that occasion. And just looking back to last season, Jo Gardner was the Sunrisers' leading run scorer in the 2024 Charlotte Edwards Cup. Scored 260 runs at 32.5, fourth leading run scorer in the entire competition. So another big wicket for Yorkshire to try and prize from Essex in this game. And it is the visitors who are 83 for 3 after 11 overs. That required run rate, 11.78.
Well, that run rate is creeping up, isn't it?
It certainly is.
I suppose that's the pressure you put on when Yorkshire have bowled so well as a team. They've played as a team completely. And that's what it does to batters, isn't it?
It does. And it's kind of the magic number, isn't it, as both a batting and a bowling side, 12 runs per over. It's difficult. It's 2 runs off every single delivery. So this is a very, very difficult position to try and escape for Essex in this encounter.
Absolutely, and it's nice to see Beth Langston coming on, who is an incredibly smart bowler.
Yeah, she is. Has every single trick in the book, and aside from the variations, it's also the consistency and reliability. And here she is trying to get the prize wicket of McLeod. McLeod advances down the wicket, drives that firmly through the covers. Will be cut away by the sweeper, restricts it to just the single.
That was really well picked up by Erin, that. I mean, she kept her balance, didn't even have to stop herself for the throw, just used that momentum beautifully.
Yeah, she did. Really top fielding, and we were speaking about this earlier, the ground fielding of Yorkshire this season to back up the bowlers, prevent those preventable boundaries, has been really top-notch in this campaign so far. It's Langston again from the Kirkstall Lane end. This one again played out to the covers, just the single on that occasion off the bat of Gardner.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about ground fielding in sort of the wider women's cricket space. Obviously, there's been a lot of discourse about it and how often it gets overlooked, but teams are working so much on it now.
Yeah, and you have to. It is part and parcel of the game, especially in limited overs cricket, and that is a big hoik from Lizzie McLeod. Races over towards the deep mid-wicket rope, and it is 4 more runs off the bat of the Essex opener. 61 from 38 deliveries, 9 fours and 1 6 to boot.
That was absolutely slapped away there.
Yeah, dismissive, I think is how I'd describe that from McLeod, and she is the big wicket at this stage.
Oh yeah, she's so well set. She's seeing it like a beach ball.
Yeah, certainly is, and as a result of that, it's brought about the change of field. Deep fine leg comes up into the circle, and Amy Campbell goes in at a wideish long on, looking to prevent those scoring options. That was a Yorker from Langston, just about dug out and played out towards deep cover for a single. Some more solid fielding there from the aforementioned Erin Thomas, and yeah, it's just brought the required run rate down ever so slightly. Still touching 11.88. It's not exactly eaten a massive hole into it, but has brought it down ever so slightly. Another change in the field here as the substitute fielder Fackrell comes in at a catching mid-wicket. McLeod advances down the track again. There's some more indecision. Fackrell couldn't get it under control. But we've seen that a few times today, haven't we, Charlotte, in terms of the Essex batters coming down the track, not quite committing to the single, and as a result, it brings the run out into play.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost switching the pressure around ever so slightly because it's being put back on the fielders.
Certainly is. Here is Langston again, full, and almost an outstanding catch. And that is a great effort either way, just to prevent a certain boundary. We'll have to see the replay of that one. It was Claudie Cooper, the fielder, on that occasion. That was just drilled through the covers. She's done outstandingly to even get a hand on that.
That's unreal. I mean, we know she's special with the catches. We've seen that already in this game twice. So even just to get a finger on that, to just help out stir behind her, huge.
It is. It is, and that signals the end of over number 12. Essex 91 for 3. And yeah, it brings me on to a comment on the YouTube from Jay. And it's the fact that Yorkshire are playing like a Tier 1 side. This is a side who are not intimidated at all. And of course, this is a county who next season will be in that top 9 as it will become. And they will be one of those elite teams in England and Wales. But this season, it's such a big opportunity, isn't it, to really make a name for themselves and show the Tier 1 sides that, you know what, we're not just coming in to make up the numbers next season. We're here to compete and win games of cricket, as Liv Thomas starts with a dot ball from the Howard stand end.
Absolutely. I mean, I know that Rich Pyra has gone into this going, this is an opportunity, this is preparation, we have a year to have fun with it, and then really hit the ground running, which is what we're doing already.
Yeah, it has. It's been a staggering start to the season as Gardner this time advances down the track, attempts to work it out towards deep mid-wickets. Thought for a second Fackrell, the substitute fielder, would have been involved there, but as such, is another boundary, this time off the bat of Joe Gardner. Goes all the way over the rope for 6, and that is some shot.
Yeah, really is. Picked out a nice long way to hit that ball there.
Yeah, tremendous shot that from Gardner, who, as we said, is a very proficient operator in this format. That one, bit of a drag down from Liv Thomas, belted back to the bowler, who scoops it up after diving to her left-hand side. And as a spin bowler yourself, Charlotte, that's a frustrating shot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, Liv's reactions are so strong after she's bowled. She's always ready for it to be slapped right back at her. I mean, that was evidenced with a great catch that she took over in Harrogate in the previous round of the Cup. She's just so switched on. It's beautiful.
Most certainly is. And here is Thomas again. That one slightly wider from the leg spin bowler, allows for Gardner to play it out to mid-off for the single. Keeps that scoreboard ticking. Essex inching closer to 3 figures. Currently 98 for 3 here in the 13th over.
And that run rate's creeping up ever so slightly.
It is, yeah. Approaching nearly 12.5. So that is very significant indeed. Of course, DLS showing 108. I don't think we're going to need the Duckworth-Lewis turn today unless something extraordinary happens here in Leeds, and there is an appeal there from the bowler. Could be a chance of a run-out. Had fine leg have come across and cut that off cleanly. I think it was Duckworth, the fielder in the circle on that occasion. As a result, it will just be a leg bye.
Yeah, that looked interesting. Looks like it's maybe come off the wrist, maybe.
Let's have a look at it again here.
Yeah, I think it's just come off the glove.
It has. So here is Thomas once more, this time to Gardner. Again, it's a short pitch delivery from the leg spinner. Heaved out towards long on.
Essex are going to have to take every run they can get here.
They are, yep. So that is the 100 up for Essex. It comes at the end of over number 13. McLeod the real standout on 63. Gardner just acting as the foil, currently on 10 from 10 balls, striking at exactly 100. And in terms of the approach here for Essex, Charlotte, I'd love to know your thoughts on how you'd play this actually, because you've got to go hammer and tongs at this stage, surely.
Yeah, that's what you'd assume. I mean, you can see that the intent's there. They just seem to be picking out the fielders. So they're going to have to create some change somehow, whether that's getting a little bit more creative with their shots. I don't know. Hopefully we'll see something exciting.
Oh, absolutely. Here is Amelia Love then. To continue the spell from the Kirkstall Lane end. That one hit as straight as an arrow from Gardner this time. Will take a couple of bounces. Beats the exasperated effort there of Amy Campbell. 4 more runs on the board for Essex.
Gardner's starting to get going, isn't she?
Yeah, and that's the dangerous thing, because Jo Gardner has done this for a number of years. Spoke about her time last season in the Charlotte Edwards Cup. 4th leading run scorer in the entire competition, but it's not just been for Sunrisers. It was all the way back during a time at Northants. Had a very, very good stint at Warwickshire as well. As Love comes into bowl to the aforementioned Gardner. Whacks that out towards Rhea, substitute fielder for 1 run. And yes, she's got experience of lifting silverware. That's the other important thing.
That's very true. And with a lot of the girls that Yorkshire have got, it's all a little bit new to them, which makes it all the more exciting. And I think it makes them want it that little bit more as well, really.
Oh, it should do, shouldn't it? And this is a good competition. It's a great way to potentially get some silverware in this first season. That one is short and slashed straight to the fielder at points. Amelia Love gets a well-deserved wicket, and it's the big fish of McLeod who departs for an outstanding 63. Essex 105 for 4. Is that the big moment in this run chase?
That's so significant. Gracie with that catch, you can tell from her floppy hat. She wears it all the time. Yeah, that catch straight at her, right down the throat. Easy. What a wicket from Amelia Love. So to say you've got McLeod in that form.
Magnificent, absolutely magnificent, and she is having quite the season. Loves bowling here at Headingley as well.
Yeah, I mean, she's just doing so well. I don't know how she balances it with school. Can't imagine trying to do that with my GCSEs. But she takes it all well within her stride, and I think it's going to be the making of her, really.
It is. And it comes back to that conversation we had previously about this year almost being a blank slate, isn't it? It's a way of building up that matchday experience and getting these youngsters time out there in the middle. And in fairness to Lauren Winfield Hill as a captain, I mean, she's backed her all season long. I know we're still in the early exchanges of the wider campaign, but you can just tell Yorkshire as an outfit rate Amelia Love tremendously highly.
Absolutely. She fits right in immediately. Winfield Hill's captaincy is just remarkable. Like, the way that she cares about every single one. It's great.
It is. It's the making of a good captain. That one again short from Love. It's been slashed out towards the deep point region. Thomas attempts a hurry after that in vain. Goes over the rope for 4 more runs. So Essex 109 for 4 as Maddie Blinkhorn-Jones gets her first runs off the bat. Saw her in the last game against Durham, scored 8 from 7 before being dismissed in that game up at the Riverside. Hadn't played in the previous 6 matches, though, in the One Day Cup. So just her second game of the season. And again, that one straight as an arrow. Could be a run-out chance. Shy at the stump there from Amy Campbell. Drilled straight back at the bowler. And Amelia Love is making things happen here in Leeds.
She really is. She's forcing Essex to have to try something here. And that's the mark of a good pace bowler.
Yeah, just took the pace off that one.
Yeah.
As well, that's a really subtle and clever variation. Meant that Blinkhorn-Jones had committed fully to the shot, and with that reduced pace, almost provided another opportunity for a wicket. That one could be another chance for a wicket. It's out towards Fackrell, puts in the dive. It was a good effort, that, from the substitute fielder, looking to be aggressive and get the wickets of Jo Gardner. Just about evades her grasp, goes underneath the Yorkshire fielder, and that will be a boundary to round out what was, other than that, a very productive one for Yorkshire County Cricket Club. Essex 114 for 4 in the 14th.
Rhea Fackrell, really, not a lot you could do there.
No.
Long way to travel, really long way. Awkward position to get into because it was just dipping. You know, she would be lucky if she got a fingertip to that, really. But remarkable effort.
It was. It was, and it comes back to that hustle, that want to get wickets. As a unit, Yorkshire have really impressed me so far this season.
They are chasing every single wicket. You know they want all 10, regardless of the situation.
They most certainly do, and we will see a change in the bowling here as Claudie Cooper comes back into the attack. That first one is pulled away out towards deep square leg by Blinkhorn-Jones for a single. Allows for Gardner to come on to strike.
Yeah, want to see how Claudie goes after her first initial little spell.
My question here, Charlotte, is have you gotten over the catch? Because I'm going to be honest, I'm still catching my breath a little bit after that.
Honestly, it's the second one I think this year caught off her own bowling, and both have been as spectacular as the other.
Well, that one's short and flailed out towards a wideish mid-off for no run. It's one of those catches which just does the rounds on social media, doesn't it? And rightfully so. I don't understand how on earth she clung on to this one. We'll see the replay of it here. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Absolutely ludicrous. And this time Gardner using the footwork. Takes a couple of steps down the wicket. Drills that out towards Callis at mid-off, just about cut off there by the Dutch international, and this is not something which Yorkshire fans will be wanting to see, because Callis is writhing around in a little bit of pain there. We already saw Maddie Ward have to depart the field as a result of a wrist injury. We hope that's just a sore wrist there for Callis and nothing more serious.
Fingers crossed.
Here is Cooper once more then, this time to Blinkhorn-Jones, and that's a real strong suite of, a strong aspect of Blinkhorn-Jones's game. Very, very proficient on the sweep shot, so something for Winfield Hill and Cooper to just be aware of here. Blinkhorn-Jones this time attempts to go down the ground only as far as Stair Callis, who just 2 deliveries before was wringing the wrist in pain. Thankfully, no damage done, but that is some pretty major damage done here for Essex. 116 for 5. Maddie Blinkhorn-Jones, the latest of the visitors to depart. And Claudie Cooper continues her outstanding start to the season. It's another wicket in this game. And Yorkshire, well, they're looking more and more likely of pulling off what would be a quote-unquote cup upset.
I mean, Claudie's bowling has just gone from strength to strength this year. And, I mean, I've said it before, Stair Callis is having quite the game.
Well, she is. And I still think back to that partnership with Ward. That was... Well, it was amazing, I think, for want of a better term. It's one of those partnerships which Yorkshire were in this game at 75 for 4. I think that's the key thing. They were in the game. After that partnership, you get up to 188 for 4, a 113-run 5th wicket stand. All of a sudden, you're on top, and ever since then, yeah, it has been pretty much one-way traffic, as the run rate now stands at an imposing 14.1. Really magnificent stuff this, as Amara Carr, the latest Essex batter, comes into the middle, immediately goes for the sweep shot out towards deep square leg. Will just be a single, and that rounds out Claudie Cooper's 3rd of the encounter. Currently has figures of 2 for 19, Essex 117 for 5, and as we see a change of bowling as we head into the Kirkstall Lane end, we'll have a slight change here in the commentary position as well, as I'll be joined by Michael McCann.
Well, Yorkshire might have the upper hand, but you can guarantee with a side that bat deep in Essex and the side that are, of course, in Tier 1, they will make Yorkshire work for this right to the end. That required run rate might be an imposing 14.4, but remember we have a short boundary on one side of the ground, a pitch that looks pretty flat and true for the most part, and an outfield that has been absolutely rapid. You beat the infield, you're often getting 4, so you sense we've still got some twists and turns left. As Love, still yet to do a GCSEs, is on for a final over. And this time is being pushed away by Carr for 1. Gardner's on to strike. Now Gardner of these two is not only the set batter, but one who's got a nice base to accelerate from and who's been in run chases like this plenty of times. A star of the top tier of English women's domestic T20 cricket for a long, long time. Gardner making room, thumping that at Callis at mid-off, which is not what you want when you're already nursing something of an injury. That's 1 more. But again, we're getting to that point now. It's 2.5 a ball needed here, where any ball that doesn't go to the boundary is a win for Yorkshire.
It is, and I'll tell you what a game this has been for Amelia Love. 1 for 29 currently off the first 3.2 overs, and batted very nicely indeed. Or bowled very nicely indeed, I should say, as Carr is batting there.
I was going to say, I missed that. That's away for 1 more. Yeah, and you have to put in context as well. She's come on to bowl at a very tough time in the game. Will be fascinating to see how Winfield Hill juggles her bowlers through the remainder of the contest. It seems pretty certain that we won't see Ward again. Langston's got 1 left, as does Cooper, as does Olivia Thomas. Hall has got a couple left. Driven hard. That's going to take some stopping, and Campbell can't stop it. It burst through the hands and through the legs, where it was really firmly struck by Gardner, who loves that area of the ground, going straight and gets 4.
Yeah, that was leathered, wasn't it, from Joe Gardner? And yeah, this is a crucial wicket. If Yorkshire are to successfully defend this and advance through to the next round, Joe Gardner is the prize scalp here for Amelia Love as she turns around to bowl here from the Kirkstall Lane end.
That's well hit through the covers. It might go for 4. A lovely stop out there ensures that it doesn't, and almost gets herself in a bit of mischief there, Erin Thomas, as she flicked to keep it alive. She gets a really warm ovation by the Yorkshire fans in the sunshine out there who appreciate the work. Wasn't quite timed by Gardner. That was what gave the slight chance of it being kept in play, and Thomas did all the hard work. Callis completed it before going to check on her teammate. Full from Love into the pads. Firmly struck, but straight at Langston at deep square leg. Couldn't have picked out the sweeper much better there, Gardner. So that's 1, end of the over. It's a good over for Yorkshire, 8 off it. Yorkshire would have taken that at the start of it. So Love goes for 37 off her 4 and picks up the big wicket of McLeod. 61 to win off the last 5. We could yet also have the drama of a super over, which we of course had last night, where Durham won at Somerset. And remember, the winner of this one will play the winner of Birmingham Bears' trip to Devon, which is tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, some fascinating fixtures already materialising in this competition, and it has been fascinating. I must say, I've really got County Cup fever at this stage of the season. It is beginning to settle in, and goodness me, that one has gone stratospheric from Joe Gardner. Whacks it into the crowd, and Essex will need a few more of those if they are to spark this run chase back into life.
Well, I know I'm going to sound like I'm saying this after that first ball, but it was on my mind to mention anyway. There is a degree of risk here. They probably had to bring Olivia Thomas on for one more over at some point, but her coming on from the Howard stand end means that the shorter leg side boundary is very accessible here for Gardner, so you'd think Thomas has probably got to be looking to hang it outside that off stump. Comes down the track, turns that into a full toss, and that is a magnificent stop from Fackrell, diving away to her left. That could quite easily have been 4. Sometimes you need your fielders to help you out. Winfield Hill, once again, in between deliveries, is coming down to have a chat with her bowler. And you can see Winfield Hill there just trotting back to the keeper's position. Just trying to help Olivia Thomas keep composed. That's sure, might feel like she's got away with this a bit, Thomas. To only concede 1 from that. Gardner might feel like she's missed out. And again, it's a theme of the over. You can see them just coming down to have another mini conference. Winfield Hill speaking to Olivia Thomas, helping manage her through this pressure over in the contest. You would think 1 left for Cooper, 1 left for Langston. I'd be surprised if those 2 don't bowl out, and that leaves 1 over to find, which surely would be from Grace Hall. Unless she wants to go with seam from here on in which case it could be 2 of Hall and 1 of Langston. Full toss. And smacked out to that short leg side boundary, and it does go for 4. It's a misfield from Thomas, who looked like she had it in her grasp and just ended up knocking it into the rope. So Carr gets 4. This over's starting to become expensive for Yorkshire.
It is, and just before that replay, I'm not sure if the cameras caught it. I think Thomas actually stumbled before going off for that ball. So if she hadn't have stumbled, I think she would have cut that off quite cleanly. It was just a little bit unfortunate that for the Yorkshire youngster.
Gone! A much needed wicket for Yorkshire. And Olivia Thomas, who had taken some tap earlier on in the over, like any good leg spinner, keeps persevering and gets something to show for it. So Carr is out for 7 off 5. And Essex find themselves 140 for 6 and increasingly dependent on Jo Gardner.
Well, that is very brave bowling, that from Liv Thomas, and fair play, because she has taken a bit of tap in this over, couple of boundaries, that big 6-2 start it, but she was adamant in bowling stump to stump. She wanted to get wickets here and break the back of the Essex run chase, and you could see the reaction there from her captain, Winfield Hill. They embraced out there in the middle. It was courageous bowling, and what's that old adage? Fortune favours the brave.
Yeah, and it's now an Essex lower middle order that have not scored a lot of runs this season aside from Gardner, so it just further increases the pressure on Gardner. Jenna Dowse is out there to join Jo Gardner. Dowse, who didn't play for the first 6 games, but will feel in some good nick. She made an important 43 not out or 79 against Durham just a few days ago. Picks out deep cover for 1 to get off the mark. 3 overs remain, and Essex need 48 to win here. And Thomas has come back very nicely in that over to pick up the wicket of Carr. 141 for 6.
Yeah, she has, and we're nicely poised, aren't we, for a fantastic finish here in Leeds. It's been a great game of cricket, and fair play to Essex for making a game of it here, because Gardner, well, we all know what she's capable of. Currently 37 from 22, 3 fours, couple of 6s to boot as well. If she kicks into overdrive, and I think this is the over, to be honest, it's another cliche, but 18th over, you don't want to be taking it too deep at this stage. If you want a big over, make sure it's the 18th, make sure it goes for 20 plus, and work your way back in to the run chase.
Well, what you're seeing here is it looks like, I would expect, Winfield Hill wants Hall to complete both of these overs from the pavilion end. Hall's back, and this time is being turned away. They want to, and they will not get to, thanks to the efforts of Langston. So 47 off 17. You would think that Hall is going to bowl out from this end. She conceded 17 from her first 2 overs with this fascinating bowling action. She only started doing it because of playing men's and women's senior games and not being able to get the ball all the way down the pitch. So that's turned away for 1. Again, it's that game. They've got to come back for 2 at this stage, and they will do this time, and they will get there. She only did it because she was essentially bowling too short. She was 14, 15. She physically couldn't get the ball down 22 yards consistently. So she started using a slingier arm. People found it awkward. She kept getting wickets. And 7 years later, that's her bowling action. And she's a bowler for Yorkshire as a full-time professional on a 2-year contract. And here she is against Essex, managing to keep things relatively quiet at the death so far in this over. Still no boundary from it. 1-2-1. Yorkshire will be very happy with that.
Yeah, they will. It's been a really good start to the over, this from Grace Hall, and she has been a standout so far this season. I still find it incredible the amount of control that she has with that action as well.
Goes on the scoop, and that's straight at short fine leg. That's another. Dowse has to go for 2. Yorkshire just keep chipping away. 145 for 7. Hall gets her first wicket. The pressure is being cranked up and up on Essex. A simple catch at short fine leg. And Yorkshire once again is celebrating as that required run rate now goes above 3 a ball.
Yeah, it's a tremendous mountain to climb this for Essex. But it's good field placement, because this is something which Ariana Dowse does play quite effectively. It is that scoop or ramp shot over fine leg. It's courageous field setting that from both the bowler and from Winfield Hill to keep them in the circle, gets them in the game, and in the end it is a simple catch. And another wicket goes tumbling here for Essex County Cricket Club. Yeah, going to take a serious effort this to get over the line from here.
Taken by Rebecca Duckworth. So it's been 4 wickets lost now in a span of just under 5 overs. As Yorkshire work their way through this middle order. It's a leading edge from this one that runs away for a single. Gardner, you have to feel a little bit for here, because she's got 40 off 24. It's just the support at the other end has not been what she'd have wanted. Ever since losing Smale, losing McLeod, Essex have been on the back foot in this chase. Gardner, the lone hand of resistance, and Gardner that time is almost a little bit hockey style, crunching it through the covers with a flat bat for 4. Great shot.
Yeah, it is. It's disdainful is how I'd describe that one. Just saw the gap in the field and walloped it through. Again, we've seen this a lot today as well, especially with that boundary rope. It keeps on deflecting into the stands. Seen that about 3 or 4 times today, and good to see so much support. Of course, we mentioned this point plenty of times this season, but over 1,500 members for Yorkshire Women's Cricket, which is amazing to see. Everybody really appreciates the support, and yeah, I bet they're having quite the time out there in the stands today.
Cooper on for the final over to come from the Howard stand end. Penultimate over of the game. It's away for a single. There's one theory about being risky to bowl spin at the death, but the excellence of Cooper so far this season means you can more than understand why Winfield Hill has trusted her with the ball. 2 for 19 before that delivery. Required run rate is up past 20. Even Gardner's excellence needs to go to another level here, but that is excellent from Jo Gardner once more. It's a favoured area of hers. It's something we've seen from a few players today very effectively. Dancing down, getting their feet outside the line of leg stump, giving the room to free those crunching fast arms and power through the blade.
Yeah, and regardless of the end result here for Essex, this is some knock, isn't it, from Jo Gardner, who is just 2 runs away from what would be a stunning half-century.
Just 10 balls remain. 34 to win on the full toss, and that is walloped down the ground as well for 4. So 30 to win off 9. Well, we did see Cooper take one of the best caught and bowled of all time earlier on in the season, but that time even Claudie Cooper could do nothing about that. That was hit like a rocket, and Cooper's just got to recompose herself after that full toss, while Thackrell and Callis are busy fetching the ball. Winfield Hill is just coming down to have a little word with her bowler. Just trying to help mentor Cooper through this pressure moment. Quicker and flatter, and that's helped away, and that's going to go for 4 as well through backward square leg. Gardner's flown past 50 in this over as well. She barely even acknowledged the milestone because, quite frankly, Jo Gardner could not care less at this point of things about that kind of personal situation. It's all about trying to get this over the line for her team. She scored 40 of her 56 in boundaries. She's going at 2 a ball as well. Gardner's down the track here. They've got to come back for 2 given the game situation. And they will come back for 2. And Essex will get there. So Cooper taking a bit of tap here, and Gardner in particular finding a big over to just about keep Essex alive in the contest. It's 24 to win off 7. Full toss. And once again, Gardner takes advantage inside out through extra cover. 4 runs. Massive over for Essex. We go to the last. And this game is very much still alive. And it's very much still alive thanks to one player in particular who just won't take no for an answer. 62 not out now. It's a very impressive innings from Joanne Gardner. The question is, how does the story end?
Well, I don't want to say those 2 words, but we did see a certain super over in Exmouth in that game between Durham and Somerset less than 24 hours ago. So we'll have to wait and see, but this is a fascinating affair, and it will be, unsurprisingly, the experienced seam of Beth Langston that Winfield Hill utilises to try and see out this game. This is crunch time, isn't it? This is a great way to potentially wrap up what has been an unbelievable game of T20 cricket.
Yeah, Cooper went for 19 in that over, which was as many as she'd gone for in the previous 3 put together. Last over of the game, quarter-final spot up for grabs here at Headingley in the sunshine. Castle on strike, on just 2. Gardner flying, but at the non-strikers. Makes room and it's down the ground. That's only 1. Yorkshire won't mind that. Essex will have the consolation of knowing that they've got Gardner back on strike, though. But she's got quite the bit of work to do here. 19 to win off 5 legitimate deliveries. Field is spread far and wide. Deep set onside field. It's a shorter offside boundary that you'd imagine Gardner might be looking to go inside out and access. Winfield Hill adjusting the field. She's got a ring of 4 on the offside. The only protection on the offside is Callis at long off. And there's a long on, a deep mid wicket and a square leg. 19 to get off 5. Does make room. And it's straight to deep mid-wicket. Yorkshire won't mind that at all. Thackrell does the fielding. They've got to try and come back for 2, but it's going to be a run out, not quite. It was a good throw from Thackrell, but even if it had been gathered by Langston, Castle had made it. 17 to win off 4.
Well, just looking at that, Castle was struggling for all intents and purposes, but great running, isn't it, from Joe Gardner. So athletic out there in the middle.
Short, and Gardner doesn't get any of it. It's a dot ball. My goodness me, did Yorkshire need that? And suddenly the window of opportunity really narrows for Essex now. 17 to win off 3. It's not quite needing snookers, but it's not far off. Gardner makes room and smashes it away into the deep. And it's caught on the juggle by Rhea Thackrell. And surely with that, it should be the catch that secures Yorkshire's spot in the quarter-final. Well, Thackrell is all smiles and laughs now. She would have been the most nervous person in Yorkshire when that ball was not only coming towards her, but then was dropped first time around. But she holds on. And Gardner, who's played a fantastic hand, has to go for 64 off 33. She scored at almost 2 a ball, but just couldn't find the support at the other end. So Essex needs 17 to win off 2, and providing Langston keeps her composure, that should be that.
It should be, and I just wanted to give plenty of praise and plaudits there to Joe Gardner. She has kept this game alive in spectacular style. 8 4s, 2 6s. As you said, Mike, almost striking at 200. The exact strike rate, 193.94. It was a heroic and Herculean effort from the experienced batter, and it just seems on this occasion it was just a little bit too much in terms of the mountain that Essex had to climb. But as for Rhea Thackrell, how about that for a second attempt of the catch, and successfully taken, and as a result, 2 legitimate deliveries away from a place in those quarter-finals.
Esme McGregor is out there now, and all Langston has to do just make sure, as Aaron mentioned, that there's no wides or nobles here to cause extra heart fluctuations for Yorkshire supporters watching. Langston wraps the pads. Yorkshire will be very happy with that. They scamper through for a single, but it leaves the highly improbable equation of 16 to win from the final ball. When you look down the scorecard, it's a bizarre looking scorecard because McLeod's superb for a 63 or 41. Gardner even more impressive for a 64 or 33, but it's the fact that no one else has really stood up for Essex, which is going to cost them in this run chase. Smell with 24 of 21, the third best scorer, as that's the final ball of the game. It does go for 4, but it's inconsequential for Yorkshire. It's a legitimate delivery. That's all that Beth Langston needed, and Yorkshire have done it. They've won by 11 runs against Tier 1 Essex in round 3 of the newly created Women's T20 County Cup. Something of an upset, you might call it. Something of a chance for Yorkshire to prove their point, you might call it. What is for certain is Yorkshire are into the last 8, and they will play the winner of the game between the Birmingham Bears and Devon in the West Country. That happens tomorrow. Yorkshire's cup run continues. A 3rd straight win in this newly created competition sees the White Rose at Headingley in the sunshine through to the last 8.
Yep, and thoroughly deserved as well. Honestly, they've been an absolute credit to the club today, and I make that 6 straight wins across competitions. 3 straight in the Metro Bank One Day Cup, 3 in this competition as well, and this is by far and away the biggest result for Yorkshire so far this season. There was a lot of talk before this game about the Tier 1 versus Tier 2 side. Of course, Yorkshire entering that elite competition next season, but this is some statement from the White Rose today, and so many individual performances to watch out for and look back on with regards to the highlights. That partnership between Callis and Maddie Ward, 113 for the 5th wicket, completely turned this game on its head. And then we saw that borderline miraculous caught and bowled from Claudie Cooper. I imagine we'll see that plenty of times on social media. It's a catch which will live long in the memory of everybody here who was in the stands to witness it. And then, of course, seeing Amelia Love getting the big wicket of Lizzie McLeod, and Joe Gardner towards the end providing some fireworks before being dismissed by Beth Langston. This game has had it all, and it is the magic of the Cup. This is a great competition. I've thoroughly enjoyed these first 3 rounds, and yeah, those quarterfinals, bring them on.
And there's still plenty more to go, of course. 3 rounds done, 3 rounds left, quarterfinals on Saturday the 17th of... Saturday the 24th of May, beg your pardon. And then the semi-finals and the final will be at Taunton on Monday the 26th. And Yorkshire have just taken a massive step to putting themselves there. Let's have a look through the scorecard of this second innings. Grace Scrivens, the big wicket, the top run scorer for Essex this season and the second highest run scorer in top tier 50 over cricket in the country, was gone second ball to a quite incredible caught and bowl from Claudie Cooper for a 2-ball duck. Lizzie McLeod played superbly, particularly dominant down the ground with 63 off 41, whilst not getting a huge amount of support around her. Gray made 1 off 5, caught by Cooper off Ward, who later unfortunately went off injured. Sophia Smell was the 3rd top scorer, but didn't quite get through the gears. 24 off 21, run out by Callis. Joe Gardner came in at 5 and played a superb knock that most of the time in a game in that situation, you play that knock and you win the game. 64 off 33, caught by the sub-rear Fackrell off Beth Langston, with the game right at the death. Maddie Blinkhorn-Jones made just 6, caught by Callis off Cooper. Carr was bowled by Olivia Thomas for 7. Dowse was caught by Duckworth off Hall for 2, leaving Castle 7 not out and McGregor unbeaten on 1 at the end, and Essex 11 short. In terms of the bowling figures, 2 for 38 for Cooper off her. 4 was slightly expensive final over, but it proved inconsequential. Langston excellent as ever, 1 for 26 off her 4. Maddie Ward bowled just 1 over where she picked up a wicket before going off injured. You can see Callis giving her wrist some ice as well, because she took a bit of a painful blow in the process. Olivia Thomas with 1 for 41 off 4. Grace Hall with 1 for 26 off 3. And the 16-year-old Amelia Love coming on at a crunch point in the game and contributing with 1 for 37 off 4. So plenty to be positive about for Yorkshire. From that, we'll have highlights package from this one up on social media across the next couple of days, as well as reaction from the Yorkshire camp. We can also round off with a bit of news from elsewhere, because plenty of other results have come in. Surrey have won by 57 runs against Hampshire, who made a flying start in their run chase before collapsing somewhat to fall short. Leicestershire beat Northants by 41 runs. Lancashire earlier beat Glamorgan by 81 runs. The Blaze comprehensively beat Oxfordshire by 10 wickets. And Kent have beaten Cambridgeshire by 80 runs. So that means that the quarter-final lineup in this newly created competition is pretty much complete. Surrey will play Durham in an all-Tier 1 clash. Kent will host Blaze, the Tier 2 side looking for an upset against the Nottinghamshire-based outfit. The Red Rose of Lancashire Thunder will travel to Leicestershire, who will want to cause a shock in that one. And Yorkshire will play either Devon or the Birmingham Bears. It would be something of a surprise if it was not the Birmingham Bears, but as we've just seen at Headingley in knockout T20 cricket, you never know. Any final thoughts, Aaron Vowles, alongside what we've just seen?
Really impressed, to be honest. The character of this team is absolutely unbelievable, and they have sent out a statement not just to the rest of the Tier 1 sides, but I think in terms of the competition as well, they've already taken down Essex. Who knows in those quarterfinals? This is the great aspect of T20 cricket. All it takes is for one key individual performance, whether that is with the bat or the ball in hand, and the game changes in an instant. So bring on the quarterfinals, and you never know, if Yorkshire are victorious there, anything can happen on finals day.
6 wins in a row for Yorkshire. Worth having a glance at what's coming up. There is, of course, the Yorkshire men's team still in action in the County Championship at the Oval, with a home game against Nottinghamshire on the horizon. Yorkshire women's win against Essex there means that both sides will be in action next Saturday when that comes around. It's likely that the quarter-final against either Birmingham Bears or Devon will be at Wheatwood. Of course, plenty to be excited about, looking a little further on than that, with on Friday the 30th of May the men's blast campaign starting, and the women start their blast campaign a couple of days later. But for now, from yours truly, Michael McCann, thank you very much to Charlotte Ashton and Aaron Viles for their contributions alongside. Thanks so much to all of our hard-working camera ops, directors and team behind the scenes here. Make sure to be across social media for more reaction to this result. But for now, here at a sunny Headingley, it is a day to remember for the White Rose. Yorkshire the winners by 11 runs against Tier 1 Essex and into the quarterfinals. Goodbye for now.
Vertu, official partner of Yorkshire County Cricket Club.